Welcome back to FedEx Field, and with today's starting lineup, I give hail to the Hondo. Jim, take it away.
Thanks, Hoke. For the Washington Redskins of head coach Jim Zorn, they look like this offensively. Santana Moss and Devin Thomas are the wide receivers. The tight end is Fred Davis. The left tackle is Levi Jones. The left guard, Derek Dockery. The center is Casey Robach. The right guard will be Mike Williams today, substituting for Edwin Williams, who had such a rough time last week against the Eagles. And the right tackle is Stefan Heyer. The quarterback is Jason Campbell. Rock Cartwright is the running back, and the fullback is the Pro Bowler Mike Sellers. For the Saints defensively, Charles Grant, Anthony Hargrove, Cedric Ellis, and Will Smith are the front four. Jonathan Bilma in the middle. Scott Fujita amongst that linebacking core, inactive today with a bursa sack problem. Troy Evans replaces him. Scott Shanley flanks Bilma to his right. The cornerbacks are Mike McKenzie, playing for Jabari Greer today, who remains inactive with that groin problem. And the other corner is the rookie Malcolm Jenkins. The free safety is Darren Sharper. The strong safety, Roman Harper. For the Saints offensively, Marcus Colston and Devery Henderson open at wide receiver. Jeremy Shockey is the tight end. The left tackle is Jerron Bushrod. The left guard, Carl Nix. The center, Jonathan Goodwin. The right guard is Jari Evans, and the right tackle, John Stinchcomb. The number one quarterback in the NFL is Drew Brees. Behind him, the fullback is Kyle Eckel, and the running back is Pierre Thomas. For the Redskins in their 4-3 defense, and they are number one against the pass, 7th overall. The front four consists of Philip Daniels, Cornelius Griffin, Albert Hainsworth back in the lineup today after being inactive for the last 2 games with an ankle problem, and Andre Carter. The veteran London Fletcher is the middle linebacker, flanked by number 1 draft choice Brian Arakpo at the strong side linebacking position, and Rocky McIntosh at the weak side linebacker position. The corners are Carlos Rogers and Fred Smoot, who'll be playing for D'Angelo Hall today. The free safety is the former LSU Tiger LaRon Landry, and the strong safety is Reed Doughty. Earlier this week, Drew Brees sat down with our Christian Garrett.
All right, Drew, the Redskins number 1 pass defense in the league, and statistically in the top 10 in several defensive categories. What it is about this defensive team that makes them such a challenge?
Well, they've got a great front four and really a great front seven. Their linebackers, D-line playing at a high level. Their secondary has made a lot of plays as well. They got some really talented athletic guys, good ball skills in that secondary, and so that's. The stats don't lie. They tell the story. They've been able to be very effective against the pass. Been able to take the ball away lately. Getting a lot of pressure on the quarterback. So we got to work it out for us, that's for sure.
You guys have dropped 2 straight to this team. What about this team that makes them such a difficult matchup for you guys? How difficult is it to maintain your edge throughout this long season? And have you had to do anything differently as a leader of this football team, one of the leaders of this football team, to make sure that everybody stays even keel?
Well, constantly just reminding guys that we're not promised anything. We haven't accomplished our ultimate goal, or even, we haven't even won the division yet. We have an opportunity to do that this weekend. So, one at a time is always going to be the emphasis. Constantly keeping guys obviously motivated and challenged. And, we understand the opportunity we have, though, and this doesn't come along that often. And so we're going to make the most of it.
It's a good opportunity for you guys to go on the road in December and get a win in the elements, if you will.
Yeah, no, it is. Something that we're excited about, and anytime you go on the road, especially playing an NFC East opponent like the Redskins, know the defense we're going to face, know the environment that we're going to be in, and it's going to be a challenge. But these are the games that you need to win if you want to be a great team.
What's it going to take for you guys to get to 12-0?
Well, we're going to need to execute in all phases. But, offensively, taking care of the football, priority number 1, being able to, stay as balanced as we can and, make the plays when they come to us.
Best of luck, Drew. Thanks.
Thanks.
All right, and the Drew Brees pregame interview was brought to you by Oakland Heart Jewelers.
And we'll be back with the kickoff of today's game after these messages on the New Orleans Saints Radio Network. Observing a moment of silence for the departed Redskins safety.
Thank you. Please remain standing for the presentation of the colors by the U.S. Capitol Police. And performing our national anthem this afternoon, local performing artist, D.C. Washington.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hail at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watch were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red gleams of us bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
And here at FedEx Field, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the New Orleans Saints radio network.
And let's go right down to Christian Garrick with a River Parish Disposal Safe Sideline Report. Gomer, what you got down there?
All right, Hokie, a couple inches of snow fell here last night at FedEx Stadium. They had the field covered, according to the grounds crew here for the Redskins, and they told me that it's not an issue. The field looks great. Several of the Saints players told me the footing should not be an issue. Also, kicker Garrett Hartley will make his 2009 season debut. He said, watching him in warm-ups, he told me that he felt comfortable from 60 and in, and he was booming them in warm-ups about 55 and in, so with plenty of room to spare.
All right, Christian, look forward to your contribution in the afternoon ahead. Hope, what do you think of Garrett Hartley being used for the first time here today?
Well, I'm going to tell you, Jim, I mean, it's been a little bit of a rocky road between the snap, hold, and kick for John Carney this year. And you know John Carney is never going to be the kind of guy that's going to blame it on the snapper, the holder, or anything like that. There are times that I've watched the hold. It's been somewhat,
good afternoon, gentlemen. We're using
rocky, if you will.
For today's toss.
Carl Cheffers is our referee about to perform the toss of the coin.
New Orleans gets to call the toss. They have called heads.
Come on, baby. Come on, baby.
It is heads. New Orleans has won the toss. They'll take the ball.
Well, there's a change from a year ago. A year ago, when we were here for the second game of the season, the Saints won the toss of the coin and elected to defer. No deferring here on the part of the Saints, whose captains include some former Redskins, Pearson Prelo out there, and Mark Brunell as well.
And today's opening kickoff is brought to you by Louisiana Partners for Highway Safety. The Saints wouldn't think of running downfield with their helmets unbuckled, so buckle up when you drive. Brought to you by Louisiana Partners for Highway Safety, reminding everybody, buckle up.
Well, I think we kind of got a break here for the weather, don't you?
Well, as we came in yesterday, it was snowing. I mean, it was kind of miserable conditions. Of course, Carl Arredondo told us on Friday night, we were talking to him, he said, no, conditions are going to be fine for game. It's going to be a little bit chilly, but everything's going to clear out. And it really is. It's really a pretty day up here. You look at those little streamers on the goalposts and everything else, they're barely moving, so shouldn't affect the passing game, the kicking game, anything like that. And I think the biggest thing is, like Christian said, if the field was covered, you should not have, there was some snow that just came down. Somebody got pelted with it right there, right in front of us. As we're talking about how good the weather is, but that was just some snow that was left over from last night. But anyway, Christian said the field conditions are good, so we shall see how this game takes place. And, generally speaking, when you do have a natural grass field like this, you've got some bad weather on it, sometimes you'll start seeing those big divots pop up.
Sean Sweesom will kick the ball away. He will be kicking off from right to left as we view it. Courtney Roby back deep for the Saints in single safety.
Well, I got to correct you on one thing. You said right to left as we do view it. It's basically coming at us. This is more like it.
Yeah, this is a very difficult vantage point from which to broadcast, but we shall do our best. From the 50 away from us, it's pretty much a rumor what happens here at FedEx Field. But as long as they play on this side of the 50 all day long, we'll be all right.
Well, Jim, I got to say hello to Kermit Williams, the guy that picked us up at Park and Fly yesterday. He said this one's in the bag.
All right, Kermit, we'll hold you to that. Here's a short kickoff. Roby fields it at the 15 to the 20, 25. He's up to the 30 and drops short of the 35-yard line. Courtney Roby with the return of 19 yards.
Well, I tell you what, that was really a short kickoff, and the difficult thing when you're the return man back there, that ball gets up in that cloudless sky, and it really is kind of a depth perception thing. It's hard to pick it out.
Well, Sean Sweesum had a very difficult warm-up as I watched him, and that was a very difficult kickoff. So the Saints will start 1st and 10 at their 34-yard line, and they will start in the shotgun. Meacham wide to the right, 2 receivers to the left. Here's Breeze dumping it off to Pierre Thomas. Blockers in front. He's up across the 40, and he's going to be taken down as he crosses the 45-yard line of the Saints. So the Saints open with a pass to Pierre Thomas, and that's good for a gain of 12 yards.
That was actually a screen pass right there and worked pretty good. Pierre Thomas had a convoy of blockers in front of him. As he catches that ball, he's going out there. Look, Carl next pulls out there. He's in good shape. And tell you what, Pierre Thomas gets one around the neck. I'm surprised there wasn't a little bit of a flag there.
1st and 10 for the Saints up at their 46-yard line, just underway here in the first quarter. 2 receivers to the left. One of them, Dinkins, comes in motion. Breeze will pitch it out to Thomas, sweeping to the left side. He'll be hit in the backfield and dropped by the defensive end, Andre Carter, the 9th-year man out of Cal. So a very good job by Carter stringing out the run of Thomas as you hear some hoodat chants in the backfield. He's dropped for a loss of 3, and it'll bring up 2nd and 13 from the Saint 43-yard line. That's the strength of this Redskin defense is their veteran front 4. Reggie Bush split out wide to the left. Colston inside him. 2 receivers to the near side of the field. Breeze with an empty backfield in the shotgun. Looks over the middle, pumps again. Brings it down one more time. Scrambles to his left, being chased by Carter. Throwing it downfield, and it's incomplete and nearly intercepted. In the hands of Fred Smoot, who should have picked that ball off.
Well, as you can see right there, when Drew, he got plenty of time. He's looking downfield. He gets flushed to his left and moving to his left. He had to throw the ball over there. He's getting some heat from the backside, and he can't really step into that throw to get much on it. Like you said, Fred Smoot ought to come up with that.
Looked like Drew was confused as one of the front 4 dropped off in coverage right in the area that he was looking at initially over the middle. So the Saints' first opportunity at a 3rd down conversion here is a long one. 3rd and 13 from the New Orleans 43. Breeze in the shotgun again. He's going to throw it short once more out on the left flat. Pierre Thomas with Nix ahead of him. Thomas stays in bounds for as long as he can, but is finally driven out of bounds short of the 1st down in front of the Saints bench. But they have moved the football into the territory of the Redskins, where they will have to punt on 4th down. So on comes Thomas Morstead to punt it away for the first time. Back deep for the Redskins is Antoine Randall L. Line of scrimmage is the Redskin 47. Morstead punts it away, hangs it high and beautifully. Randall L's going to let it hit. It takes a Saint bounce, and they're going to cover it up right down around the 5-yard line. Usama Young was down there. So was Jeff Charleston. So a punt of 42 yards. Nothing on the return for the Redskins, and a timeout on the field. 12:51 to play opening quarter. Redskins and Saints are scoreless. This is the New Orleans Saints radio network.
Jim, it's the Saints defense goes out there for their first possession. You got Jolon Dunbar starting in place of Fajita. We were told that Evans would do that. Also, Mike McKenzie out there as cornerback for Jabari Greer.
One running back for the Redskins, and that is Rock Cartwright on 1st and 10 from the Washington 6-yard line. Campbell up under center. 3 receivers to his left. He looks to his right, throws, and the catch is made. And battling forward for the first down is the tight end Fred Davis, his 28th catch of the season, the 2nd-year man out of USC. Of course, they love to employ their tight end, but usually it's Chris Cooley before his broken ankle has sent him to injured reserve. So it will be a pickup of 9 and bring up 2nd and 1 from the 15-yard line of the Redskins. 12:20 to play opening quarter, scoreless game. 2 receivers to the left for Jason Campbell. Backs and eyes. The fullback Sellers checks in. Play action. No, they'll give it off to Cartwright, the tailback. Rock Cartwright, primarily their special teams ace, with a flag being thrown at the end of that play, is stopped short of the 20-yard line. Our referee today is Carl Cheffers.
Personal foul, face mask, number 91, defense. 15 yards will be added to the end of the run. Automatic first down.
Yeah, Will Smith guilty of the face mask. So the Redskins, who were deep in a hole starting at their 6-yard line, now with their play and penalty yardage, have the ball up at the Washington 34-yard line, where it is 1st and 10. 12 minutes to play, opening quarter, scoreless game. These Redskins, who have lost 6 of 7, have won 1 of their last 3, and their 2 losses have been much closer than games earlier in the season. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Cartwright behind Campbell. He puts Moss in motion. Looks over the middle. Throws deep. Far sideline. Coming back for it is an incomplete with a flag down is Devin Thomas. There was contact with Malcolm Jenkins down around the 30-yard line of the Saints.
Well, you look at the couple of pass plays that the Redskins have run. The first play of the game, they went right at Mike McKenzie, kind of figuring, hey, this guy's just coming off an injury, just got here. Right there, they go after Malcolm Jenkins, and Malcolm Jenkins just allows the receiver to get that one step
Pass
on him.
interference, number 27, defense, automatic, first down.
And very clearly the right call.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt about it. I mean, when you are in that trail position like that and you never turn your head around to look for the football, the officials are going to call it.
32-yard penalty sets up the Redskins 1st and 10 at the Saint 34-yard line. 11:37 to play, opening quarter, scoreless game. Ace formation for the Redskins. One back, that's Cartwright. He gets the pitch, sweeps left, and nice play by Shanley, playing off the block of the fullback Sellers to bring him down for a very short gain on the near sideline in front of the Redskin bench.
Well, I'm sure Scott Shanley watched that game last night. His old team, the Nebraska Cornhuskers, how good a defense they played against Texas. And right there, Scott Shanley, just as you said, Jim, notice how he's got his butt turned to the sideline so that he's going to turn that play to the inside. Running back decides to take it to the outside, but since he's keeping his outside shoulder free, he's got that play contained.
2nd and 8 at the Saint 32-yard line. Baxon and I. Campbell hands it off once more to Cartwright. Sweeping left, and again it's Shanley on his back as he is stopped short of the 30-yard line. Rock Cartwright, as we mentioned in the open, is now their starting tailback. They have lost both Clinton Portis, although not for the season. He's had a concussion in Week 9, hasn't played since. That happened against the Falcons. And they have lost Liddell Betts to injured reserve. So it's Rock Cartwright. We'll also expect to see Marcus Mason and Quinton Ganther playing that position as well. 3rd and 7 for the Redskins at the Saint 31-yard line. Campbell goes to the shotgun. Calls for the football. Saints coming up the middle. He throws across the middle. The catch is made at the 21-yard line by Devin Thomas, and he is really flattened by Darren Sharper. But he picks up the first down in making that catch, the second-year man out of Michigan State.
Boy, I mean, here for a few weeks in a row. Well, I shouldn't say that. Basically been all season. I mean, Darren Sharper is coming up from that safety position, and he is laying the wood to some people.
Saw the big hit that he put on Kevin Falk on Monday night. They double-team Will Smith on the pass rush to keep him at bay. 1st and 10 at the Saint 21-yard line. Redskins threatening. Pitch to Cartwright. Takes it back against the pursuit, and Sharper will have to bring him down at the 4-yard line of the Saints, where it will be 1st and goal. That is a 17-yard gain for Rock Cartwright, as the Redskins have marched from their 6 down to the Saints' 6-yard line.
Well, I mean, it just kind of goes to show you right there the penalty. You had the face mask on Will Smith, and you had the pass interference penalty, and how that just changes field position in just a matter of no time, just because you get that free yardage.
1st and goal from the 6. Campbell hands it off to Cartwright, sweeping right, and Idell is there along with Vilma to bring him down. Good pursuit there by the front 4 of the Saints, who have had their difficulties against teams with their opening drive. Many have speculated that Greg Williams kind of sits back as the defensive coordinator of the team, figures out what the opposition is doing, and usually makes the adjustment after that team's opening drive.
Okay, well, I agree with the fact that he makes the adjustments, but I don't think that any coordinator in the league says, well, let me sit back and see what they're going to do. Let's let them go down and score on their first possession.
2nd and goal from the 8 here. 2 wide receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Campbell, 3-step drop. Can't find anybody, has to settle for the short pass. Left flat, Cartwright is thrown wide of him and incomplete.
I'm pretty sure that ball was tipped at the line of scrimmage. It might have been Will Smith. I don't know, but that ball just kind of wouldn't think that Jason Campbell would throw a ball that badly.
Get another look at it on the replay and see what you think, Hope.
I think it was Will Smith. One way or another, I mean, it's not a complete pass. It's hard to tell on that replay, but Will Smith did what he's supposed to do, get your hands up in the air. Quarterback, I think he might have deflected it slightly.
3rd and goal from the 8-yard line. Thomas wide to the left. Kelly wide to the right. Campbell goes to the shotgun and calls timeout.
First charge, timeout, Washington.
With 8:17 to play opening quarter, Redskins threatening, but they and the Saints are scoreless. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
A uniform.
Jim Zorn in his 2nd year here as the head coach of the team. Many people think these will be his final 5 games as its head coach. As the Redskins are at 3-8, he has had his play calling duties for the most part taken away from him. And now we see that Chris McAllister is checked in on the left corner, Hope. And on the right corner will be Mike McKenzie.
Yeah, so, I mean, the 2 brand-new guys out there. Campbell went after McKenzie the first play of the game, so you could probably look for him if he's going to throw it to go at one of them right now.
3rd and goal from the 8. Moss goes in motion left to right. Campbell from the shotgun. Throws short underneath to his tight end. Touchdown. Fred Davis runs to the near pylon and takes it in for the score.
Well, Jim, you know, this is something. You go back to Monday night's game. That's what the Patriots were known for, going to Wes Welker with those little drag routes coming across the middle. That's a couple of times now that the Redskins have gone to exactly the same play, but the Saints are not defending it like they were Monday night because they knew it was coming. It's almost like a new wrinkle in the Redskins game plan.
Scott Shanley was the nearest Saint, and he was quite a bit in a trail position to Fred Davis, who takes it in for his 3rd touchdown reception of this season. Sean Sweesom comes on to add the extra point. So the Redskins, 9.5-point underdogs coming into this game, draw first blood with 8:11 to play. Opening quarter, it's Washington 7 and New Orleans nothing. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
Welcome back to FedEx Field. Let's go right down to Christian Garrett with the River Parish Disposal Saints Sideline Report. Christian.
Hoagie, you were talking about the drag route by tight end Fred Davis for the Redskins and how effective it was on that last drive. Well, the defensive players, and the defensive coaching staff for the Saints were talking about that exact same play over on the sideline and trying to figure out how to solve it. Greg Williams has been good all year about making the adjustments. Let's see if he has an answer for that.
Greg Williams, who was the defensive coordinator and the head coach in waiting, most thought, here 2 years ago before Jim Zorn got the job, and Greg Williams moved on to Jacksonville for 1 season. Redskins go 94 yards in 9 plays and 4:40 to take the lead. Here's another short kickoff by Sweesom, fielded at the 8 by Roby. Back to the 20-25 and met right around the 30-yard line where he is gang tackled. So the Saints with some work to do after a 22-yard return of the kickoff by Roby. They find themselves trailing with 8:05 to play opening quarter. Redskins 7 and the Saints nothing. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
All right, this NFL scoreboard is brought to you by Stanley, Reuter, Ross Thornton, and Alford, business litigators for New Orleans and the Gulf South region. Chicago leads St. Louis 7-0. It's also New England over Miami 7-0. Philadelphia 10, Atlanta nothing. Boy, we need that game. The Colts 7, Tennessee 3. Get back to those scores right after the play.
Mike Bell checks in as the running back. David Thomas in motion joins him in the backfield. Play action. They're going to throw to Thomas left flat, and he'll be taken down by the linebacker right around the 35-yard line. That is H.B. Blades, third-year man out of Pitt, who brings down David Thomas. The Saints have only run the ball once so far in their first 2 possessions. That's for a loss of 4.
And let me finish up those scores. Pittsburgh and Oakland are tied up at 3 apiece. It's Denver 7, Kansas City nothing. Also, Carolina over Tampa Bay 7-0. Jacksonville leads Houston 3-0. and Detroit and Cincinnati are scoreless.
2nd and 4, Saints from their 36. Henderson in motion left to right. Play action, and then they hand it off to Henderson, coming on the end around to the near far side of the field, rather, and he's bounced out of bounds in front of the Saints bench by the weak side linebacker Rocky McIntosh.
Well, apparently Sean Payton thinks that what he can do, he can get out on the perimeter of this Washington defense, because the only two running plays that they run, the pitch to Pierre Thomas and right there the reverse to Devery Henderson, and then they run a couple of screens, things that you're saying, they're trying to get to the outside. I tell you what, it looks to me like that the Redskins defensive line, they've got pretty good lateral pursuit.
Saints are just short of the first down, bringing up 3rd and 1 from the New Orleans 39. Zach Strief checks in as an additional blocker. Mike Bell is tripped up as he tries to go airborne, and I don't think he got there.
I don't think he did either. He's going to be about a foot short, it would appear, Jim.
Cornelius Griffin was there, and Kedrick Golston as well, and the Saints did not make it. On 3rd and 1, they'll have to punt the football away on 4th and 1. On comes Thomas Morstead for the second time today. Back deep for the Redskins is Antoine Randall L., averaging 4.5 yards per return, his longest of the season, 15 yards. So the Saints punting it away for the second time today. Morstead with a lot of room to let out some shaft here. He hangs it high. Randall L. comes up and has contact from a Saint as a flag goes down. Randall L. made the fair catch, but there was contact and a flag was thrown. The Saints are arguing as the officials talk about it.
Well, we get an opportunity to see the replay right here. It was just there was a mass of bodies down there, and I could see where I think that's Pearson Prelo. Right. He was blocked. I'm not going to necessarily say that he was blocked into the return man, but there on the far end of the field, it's difficult for us to see it, but Pearson Prelo pleading his case right there.
There's no foul for fair catch interference. The player was pushed by an opponent into the receiver. Timeout.
So they pick up the flag, and there's a timeout on the field with 6:17 to play. Opening quarter, Redskins 7 and the Saints nothing. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
There is no place like Hotel.
It's the New Orleans Saints tradition. Turn down the sound on your TV and turn up the Saints Radio Network next Sunday, December 13th at noon when the Saints take on the Falcons in Atlanta. Turn up the Saints Radio Network.
Saints can clinch the NFC South with a victory or a tie here today, or a Falcon loss or tie against the Eagles in Atlanta.
Well, Jim, they said that Troy Evans was going to start this ball game in place of Scott Fujita, but he is in there now in the second series because Jolon Dunbar has had the undisclosed injury right now, but we did see him over there on the sidelines, but Evans is there at the linebacker now. 1st
and 10 from his 30. Campbell play action, dumps it off to his tight end across the 40, up around the 43-yard line, as once more the Redskins go to Fred Davis for the catch and a first down, a gain of 12 yards.
Man, you look at that Redskins offense, and you look at how many guys out there that are wearing yellow shoes after every play.
It's like a penalty.
I think there's a flag out there on the field.
1st and 10 from the 42-yard line of the Redskins. They lead at 7-0, 5:43 to play opening quarter. Campbell going to pitch it. And breaking a couple of tackles before taken down in Saints territory is Quinton Ganther, second-year man out of Utah State, as the Redskins move it on the ground. And they will spot the football at the Saint 45-yard line. Another first down. 1st and 10 for the Redskins. Saint 45-yard line. Ganther remains in there as the running back. 2 receivers to the left and 1 to the right. Santana Moss. Campbell. 3-step drop. In trouble. Brings it back down. Throws it downfield. Incomplete. Intended for Santana Moss, and he was covered by Darren Sharper. Looked like that was Troy Evans who was in the face of Campbell, causing him to double clutch that football, and so it falls incomplete. We'll pause 10 seconds for station identification on the New Orleans Saints Radio Network. Redskins with 8 first downs to the Saints 1. This is 2nd and 10 from the New Orleans 45. Campbell puts Daniel in motion, and he's going to be throwing to him in the left side for a completion inside the Saints 35-yard line to 34. Saints brought about 3 additional rushers, and Campbell went down, but he was able to complete that pass for 11 yards, and the drive continues.
Well, it's nice recognition on the part of Jason Campbell. He sees where the Saints are coming with Malcolm Jenkins and also Roman Harper. From the left, he's got Randall L. out there by himself. Randall L. recognizes the blitz, and he just runs just a little hook route to give his quarterback somebody to throw it to.
Another first down for the Redskins. 1st and 10 at the Saint 34-yard line. 4:17 to play opening quarter. It's been all Redskins who lead 7-0. Backs in an eye. Campbell play action. Throws, and there's another completion to the tight end who gets away from Evans. That is Fred Davis, tight-roping the sideline on the far sideline for another first down. They'll spot the football at the New Orleans 19-yard line. That's a gain of 14. A lot of short sets by Campbell.
Well, and that's what they've done. I mean, and at some point in time during this game, we'll explain this confusing offensive philosophy, so to speak, as far as sending the plays down from the press box to the field to Jason Campbell. But one of the things that they did say, they're trying to condense the playbook as much as they can to make it simpler for him.
1st and 10 from the Saint 19-yard line. 3:42 to play opening quarter. Redskins on top 7-0, threatening to get more. Another short set. He throws to Mitchell near sideline. Malcolm Jenkins brings him down inside the 15, down around the 14-yard line of the Saints. Marco Mitchell with the reception. A 7th-round rookie out of Nevada.
Well, Jim, the Redskins, now they've only got 3 wins, and, it's difficult to say that, they're a good team, anything like that. But anytime that you're an undefeated club like the Saints are, you're going to get everybody's best shot. And the Redskins are giving it everything the Saints can handle right now.
2nd and 4 from the 13. Saints going to blitz. Campbell can't find anybody. Now throws the football away. Under pressure from Charles Grant was Jason Campbell. And he threw the football away on the near sideline as the Saints beginning to take a few more chances defensively than they did in the opening series.
Well, and one of the things that what they're doing with Jason Campbell is they don't want him taking the 7-step drop because their offensive line is so banged up. They don't want him getting that 7-step. They want it 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They want it the quick stuff so he can get the ball out of his hands immediately.
Saints really climbed up on Santana Moss that time and took him out of the equation. So it is 3rd and 4 from the Saint 13. Campbell, play action. Can't find anybody initially. Now he throws the ball and incomplete, intended once more for Fred Davis on the near sideline. Both Malcolm Jenkins and Mike McKenzie were there. And so on will come the Redskins kicking team, and that would be Sean Sweesum, who is 15 of 17 on the season. Had a 25-yarder last week against the Eagles. He has missed from 39 and 50 this season. They'll set the football down at the near hash mark at the 22-yard line. A 32-yard attempt upcoming. From the near hash mark with Hunter Smith to hold. Snap, placement. Kick is on its way, and it is good. Sean Sweesum connects from 32 yards out. And in 2 drives, the Redskins have put 10 points on the board.
I tell you what, Jim, it's a situation right now that, the Saints offense has got to get out there. You got to get a little something going. They've only got 1 first down here in the first quarter, and they were fortunate right there to dial up a couple of good defensive signals to stop the Redskins and what they're doing. But as I mentioned earlier, you always want to get everybody's best shot when you're the undefeated team. The Redskins are playing some pretty inspired football right now, and you got that crowd behind you. And, that's something that helps tremendously. When some of those guys ran out on the field for the pregame introduction, some of the fans booed. But now that this team is up 10-0, this Redskins crowd is behind them. And that's the one thing, if you're the Saints, that you've got to try and avoid is get that home team behind you.
Jim Zorn implored his Chargers this week to dig down deep, to play for pride. The best they can do is finish at 500, and the rest of their schedule is extremely daunting for the Redskins. They will take on the Raiders next week in Oakland, but aside from that, the Giants and the Cowboys here before traveling to San Diego for their final game of the regular season. So the best they can hope for is a 500 record. Through 11 games, this is the worst season to date of Daniel Snyder's 11-year career as the owner of the Redskins.
Well, I can only speak for myself. He's not one of my more favorite owners in the league. You know, I think he has a tendency to meddle in a lot of things. I mean, he was a guy that went to Jim Zorn and say, you're the head coach, but you can't call plays anymore.
Here's Sweezum's kickoff. Roby fields it at the 8. 15 to the 20, looking for a block left side, trying to turn the corner with Prelo out in front of him trying to throw it. He'll be forced to the far sideline and driven out of bounds around the 34-yard line of the Saints.
Well, I'm not usually in favor of a guy trying to take it from one sideline to the other, but right there, I don't think that Courtney Roby really had any choice. Things were bottled up on that side. I think the reason that these kickoffs are so short, that Sweezum has seen that Courtney Roby is a dangerous return man. Get some height on that ball. Let our coverage units get down there.
26 yards on the Roby return. 1st and 10 Saints, who trail 10-0 from the New Orleans 34. Meacham in motion right to left. One running back, that's Bell. Throw it left flat, Meacham. He stiff arms the cornerback, runs to the sideline, and is driven out of bounds in front of the Saint bench. Hit hard by LaRon Landry was Meacham, but there is no flag.
And let's go right down to Christian Garrett.
Okay, that's what Coach Payton was running over to the officials crying about, or calling for, was that he felt like Robert Meacham got hit way out of bounds. Should have been a flag there.
No flag, but a first down for the Saints as they'll spot the football just short of the Saint 45-yard line for Meacham, his 22nd reception of the season. Saints going to try to get some rhythm going offensively and hurry up to the line of scrimmage. 1st and 10 from the New Orleans 45. Mike Bell runs it into a stack of Redskins and is driven backward. He was met initially by Cornelius Griffin, and then Philip Daniels mopped up as there was actually nowhere to run for Mike Bell.
Well, you know, on the previous play right there, Robert Meacham comes up with that catch, and somebody asked me during the week, with all the Saints' weapons and everything else, who do you think is their best receiver? And I'd have to say over the last few weeks that Robert Meacham is that guy. He's coming up with all the catches that he needs to in the clutch situation.
2nd and 11 from the Saints' 44-yard line. Breeze from the shotgun. Sets up a screen to Pierre Thomas. Thomas up to midfield. Redskin territory, ridden out of bounds on the near sideline by Westbrook. But the Saints move into Redskin territory and pick up the first down. Byron Westbrook, first-year man out of Salisbury, on the stop. That is a 14-yard gain.
Well, that's a play that the Saints do not run particularly well, the screen pass. And this is the 3rd time in the game that they've run it with, you know, what I would call moderate success for the Saints.
1st and 10 Saints at the Redskin 42. Meacham and Henderson wide to the left, Colston wide right. Backs in an eye, tailback is Thomas. Fullback Eckel. Give it off to Thomas, right side. And Thomas going to be ridden down right around the 41-yard line. A little confrontation going on between the linebacker Rocky McIntosh along with David Thomas, who was trying to throw a block. So it's been very sticky for the Saints in the running game thus far. That'll be a loss of 2 and bring up 2nd. We now check that. 2nd and 9 from the 41-yard line of the Redskins. Reggie Bush goes in motion right to left. Throw it to him left flat. Henderson blocking in front, and he is knocked over and upended. Head over heels he goes down as he's hit by Kevin Barnes out in the left flat. So Reggie Bush touches the ball for the first time, maybe much to his regret.
You know, Jim, I mean, you sit there, you look at the Redskins record and all that, but their defensive ranking, I mean, those guys are up there pretty good. And a lot of people have said during the course of the week, well, they hadn't faced an offense like the Saints, but what I'm seeing right there right now, the Redskins are pretty salty on defense.
Number 1 against the pass in the NFL, and the first 15 minutes have elapsed here at FedEx Field, much to the delight of the partisan Redskin fans. After 1 quarter in Landover, Maryland, it is the Redskins 10 and the Saints nothing. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network. Welcome back to Landover, Maryland. FedEx Field. The Saints trying to get something going here as the second quarter begins after the first quarter was dominated by the Redskins, who lead 10-0.
Well, here's just a few numbers. The Redskins had 10 first downs to the Saints 3, 104 total yards to the Saints 55, 71 passing for the Redskins, 56 for the Saints. Neither team had a sack. Time of possession was 8:09 for the Redskins, 6:51 for the Saints, and that leads to a 10-0 score. Redskins ahead. And the Saints had -1 yard rushing to the Redskins 33.
That's a Redskin defense that is 25th against the run and first against the pass. Saints move it right to left as the second quarter begins, looking at 3rd and 7 from the Redskin 39. Breeze in the shotgun. Redskins bring 4. Breeze with time, throws to Henderson inside the 30 to the 29-yard line. Smacked down there by LaRon Landry, along with the corner Fred Smoot. That is a gain of 10, and the sticks move. There is a Saint shaken up.
And that's Devery.
And that would be Devery Henderson.
It kind of looked like when he got hit, the first thing that he was checking was like maybe his left wrist. It was hard to say. He's not in excruciating pain because he's kind of sitting up, everything else. But after he caught that ball, lunged forward to get the first down, it looked like he grabbed his hand or his wrist.
Yeah, he's just sitting there and right now shaking his head a little bit as he was sandwiched between LaRon Landry, whom he knows well, I'm sure, the third-year man out of LSU, who was their first-round draft choice in 2007, their free safety, along with Fred Smoot. Well, that's the thing about Devery Henderson. He had such a great game Monday night against the Patriots, and he's become such a consistent receiver. He's going to walk off the field now under his own power. Timeout on the field. Just underway, second quarter. Redskins 10, Saints nothing. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
It's a voice-powered, turn-by-turn navigation system, a mechanical monster that mashes Android apps. High-speed mobile browsing that's a bullet train riding on greased rails. Droid. Google-equipped and exclusively from Verizon Wireless, America's largest and most reliable 3G network. Get the only phone that does for just $199.99 after a $100 mail-in rebate. In a world that doesn't, Droid does.
Droid. Requires new 2-year activation on a voice plan. Email feature, early termination, and other fees apply. Coverage details at VerizonWireless.com.
We know you've seen the All-Star electric vans around the area. These highly trained electricians have been lighting New Orleans and surrounding areas for years. From homes to businesses, All-Star Electric can get the job done on time and on budget.
No job is too big or too small for the All-Star Electric Service Department.
The All-Star Electric team will analyze and solve your commercial or residential electrical problem. And at All-Star Electric, they specialize in healthcare, hospital, and nursing home electric.
Field Hokie guys on Jim Henderson and Christian Garrick with a River Parish Disposal Saints headline injury report. What you got for us, Christian?
Saints training staff checking out Devery Henderson's left hand. He looks to be okay. He's moving it around. What happened was, I think he told the trainers basically that he got pinched in between a face mask and a football from one of the Redskins defenders. So he's up moving around, the hands moving. He looks to be good to go.
That's good to hear. So it'll be 1st and 10 for the Saints at the Redskin 29-yard line. Thomas goes in motion, one back. That's Mike Bell. Straight drop back. Breeze looks left, throws right. Catch made inside the 10 to the 9. Flag has been thrown. Shockey on the reception. Brought down by the free safety, LaRon Landry. But there is a flag down at the 12-yard line.
Pass interference, number 88, offense, 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
I don't see how they could call pass interference on Jeremy Shockey. There was nobody around him. The safety was the only person to come up to him. I don't understand that one.
I don't either.
I mean, it's not like he had a linebacker trailing him or anything like that. You watch the replay. He's wide open running down the seam. Let's go right down to Christian Garrick.
Okay, that's what Coach Payton is telling the referees. He's miffed by it, saying, hey, there was nobody in the area. How could he pass interfere with him?
You didn't even see anybody in the picture on the replay besides Shockey before the defender came over there to make the hit. So another penalty against the Saints will make it 1st and 20 at the Redskin 39. Here's Breeze setting up another screen to Thomas. Pierre Thomas ridden down at the 35-yard line of New Orleans by the defensive tackle Cornelius Griffin. That'll be a 5-yard gain.
Well, I mean, the Saints are getting a little bit of mileage out of that screen pass, but I'm still going to go back to the play prior to that. I mean, I have watched the replay several times. There was nobody around Jeremy Shockey. I mean, if he's coming off the line of scrimmage and there's a linebacker playing him man-to-man and he shoves him off, he's got just as much right to do that as a linebacker does to get up there and chuck him at the line of scrimmage. So I don't know. I'm baffled by that one.
2nd and 15 for the Saints from the Redskin 34. Breeze in the shotgun, blows on his hands for warmth, retreats, steps up in the pocket, throws down that seam once more to Shockey inside the 20 to the 19-yard line, where he is taken down by the middle linebacker, London Fletcher. That'll be a 15-yard gain.
And you know, the way that London Fletcher, after he makes the tackle on Shockey, he's coming up doing like that, like he pushed off on me again. That you had a better chance of pass interference being called there than you did on the play prior to that. I mean, I guess I'll get stuck on it for a few minutes just because it's just so, I don't know. The other play was just, I just don't see what the officials saw to make them call it on Shockey. If it was on somebody else, I could understand that.
They bring on the sticks and find that by half the length of the football, the Saints have a first down. So the Saints back in the red zone now, having completed that pass down to the 19-yard line.
Well, and I'm quite sure that Jeremy Shockey is not a fan favorite right here at FedEx Field. You know, was in that same division when he was with the Giants, and so sure the fans got a few choice words for him.
1st and 10 Saints, Redskin 19, 13-17 to play. Second quarter, Saints trailing 10-0. Breeze puts Shockey in motion, stands in the shotgun, calls for the football. Redskins bring 4, throwing over the middle to Meacham, and Meacham will be ridden down after a very short gain to around the 16-yard line. H.B. Blades, who leads this team in special team tackles, brings him down, third-year man out of Pitt. The Redskins lead this series 14-7. Won here last year in Game 2, 29-24. The Saints on that day, on a very hot day, probably rude being on the far sideline, but today they're in the sun and probably liking that vantage point. 2nd and 7 from the Redskins 16-yard line. Breeze from the shotgun. Throws, and it is going to be knocked down at the line of scrimmage and incomplete. Philip Daniels, the left defensive end, at 6'6" and 305, knocks that ball away. The 14th-year man out of Georgia, who missed the 2008 season with a torn ACL.
Well, you know, it's a little bit, I don't know. I mean, you're sitting here, you're going against the #1 pass defense in the league, and the team that's number 25 in the league against the run, and the Saints have only run the ball, what, 2 times, 3 times in this game?
Very ineffectually. 3rd and 7 from the Redskins 16. Breeze, shotgun, pumps it twice, retreats, continues to look downfield and throws the football away. Colston was the nearest receiver, but Breeze throws that one away to enable Garrett Hartley to come on for the first time this season.
Okay, well, you know, I mean, as we mentioned in the pregame that, you know, things have been a little bit shaky all season long with the Saints on their attempt for field goals and extra points. See if maybe Garrett Hartley can get this thing smoothed out. Christian said, you know, he was nailing them from, 60 yards in his pregame warm-up. So let's see where he's at now. That ball's lined up on about the 24-yard line to make a 34-yard attempt.
Brunell puts it down. Hartley has it on its way, and it is good. Garrett Hartley drills the 34-yarder as the Saints dent the scoreboard. 12:14 to play before halftime. Redskins 10 and the Saints 3. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
Email your Southern Recycling Coaches questions to whodatnation@saintsradionetwork.com. Listen to the Saints Coaches Show on the Saints Radio Network tomorrow at 6:30 p.m.
Saints put together a drive that covers 50 yards in 7 plays in 5 minutes and 34 seconds. Garrett Hartley coming on for the first time this season to hit a 34-yard field goal. 10-3 Redskins on top. Devin Thomas, along with Marcus Mason, await the kickoff. Morstead will continue to perform those duties, having done so well this season for the Saints. This is going to be Marcus Mason from the 8-yard line. Back to the 15, to the 20. And he'll be taken down just short of the 25-yard line by Jeff Charleston. That will be a 17-yard return. There's got to be more of a wind coming from left to right than you can see from the streamers on the goalpost.
Right, because Swisham was having the same thing. A lot of balls just popped up in the air. You could see that one right there when Morstead kicked it. It just kind of got out there, and about mid-flight, it just turned into a knuckleball and was just holding up in the wind.
Morstead has done a great job in that respect. His 22 touchbacks on kickoffs, tied for the NFL lead coming into this game with Michael Kanan of the Atlanta Falcons. And so the Redskins will put it in play 1st and 10 from the Washington 25. Ganther on the pitch, cuts it back, running left into a pile of Saint defenders. And that'll be a short gain as Quinton Ganther, a second-year man out of Utah State, gets the call. He was a 7th-round draft choice of the Tennessee Titans back in 2006.
Well, Jim, your starting linebacker crew is still the same after it was after the opening series. You got Vilma, Shanley, and Troy Evans is still in there. We're going to try and get an injury update from Christian on the sideline with Jolan Dunbar.
3-yard gain to the Redskin 28. 2nd and 7. Ganther resets in the backfield. Campbell hands it off to him. He runs against the pursuit, and he'll be taken down by Evans after a short gain. Vilma there as well. That's a play that they hurt the Saints on in earlier in this action when they would cut it back against the pursuit very quickly. But the Saints that time, with Troy Evans playing for Scott Fujita, equal to the task. And it's 3rd and 2 at the Redskin 33.
It'll be a good time to get the Redskins off the field. We mentioned in the first quarter it was 10 first downs for the Redskins to the Saints 3.
Marcus Mason checks in as a running back. He gets the call, runs right into one of his own blockers, and is swarmed over by the Saints.
Yeah, he swarmed over. But again, from this angle we're looking at, Jim, I mean, much closer to the first down marker than you might think. I don't think he's got the first down, but it looked like he was stopped at the line of scrimmage when actually he had some forward progress there.
Ran right into back of his tackle, Levi Jones.
You see where that 4th down marker is right now. I mean, it's right there at the stick.
But they will not go for it. They are 7 out of 17 in 4th down conversions. Instead, they'll bring on Hunter Smith, who is an excellent athlete as a punter. A threat both to run the ball and to throw it as a punter, but this time he will punt it away. And Reggie Bush will get the opportunity to return it, and he'll be bottled up and swarmed over back around the 10-yard line at the far end of the field.
Been a while since Reggie had to return one, but he went back to his east-west run style.
That's a 58-yard punt by Hunter the Punter Smith. And for Reggie Bush, he got it up to about the 22 and then reversed field and was taken down back around the 10. Timeout on the field, 10:01 second quarter. Redskins 10 and the Saints 3. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
The lawyers at Stent.
Welcome back to FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland. Jim Henderson, Hokie Gaijan, and Christian Garrick on the Saints sideline. A few Saints fans on hand. I can see a bunch of guys dressed up as, I guess, popes or cardinals or some religious denomination behind the Saints bench. 1st and 10 for New Orleans from their 13-yard line. Here's a handoff to Pierre Thomas, and Pierre Thomas is up across the 15 up to around the 17-yard line, where the strong safety Reed Doughty brings him down.
It's a New Orleans Saints tradition. Turn down the sound on your TV and turn up the Saints Radio Network next Sunday, December 13th at noon when the Saints take on the Falcons in Atlanta. Turn up the Saints Radio Network.
It's a 5-yard gain for Thomas. Came in averaging 5.6 yards per carry, number 2 in the NFL. So it's 2nd and 5 Saints from their 18-yard line. Breeze handing it off once more. I believe this is Mike Bell, far sideline, getting an opportunity. And it was Mike Bell with the carry, brought down by Albert Hainsworth along with LaRon Landry. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the New Orleans Saints Radio Network. Just short of the first down. It'll bring up 3rd and 1 for the Saints.
Number 64 reports as eligible.
from the Saint 22-yard line. You can hear the referee letting everyone know that Zach Streif has checked in for additional blocking help.
The Jim Saints are 1 of 4 on third down conversions today. Right now, you got to run the ball, got to pound it at the Redskins.
Running back is Mike Bell. He gets the call, and Mike Bell, with second and third effort, appears to have the first down and does.
Well, again, I mean, we're going to keep sitting here complaining about our angle in the stadium, all ball game long and everything else. It is difficult to see things down there, but you can kind of tell by the crowd noise because it's third maybe about a foot or so, and then when they gave the ball off to Mike Bell, you didn't hear the crowd roar, so kind of gives you an indication that he made the first down.
And he does at the 25-yard line of the Saints, where it is 1st and 10. 7:53 to play before halftime. 10-3 Redskins on top. Breeze in the shotgun. Has time. Throws short, and it's batted down once more. I believe that was Albert Hainsworth, who had dropped off into the middle linebackers area, actually, as the Redskins have done this a couple of times. Dropped some of their front four off in coverage, and it's caused Drew Brees and the Saints some problems.
Well, actually, Hainsworth was just on his rush. I mean, you could tell he's bothered by that ankle injury. He's not really able to explode off the ball. Give the guy credit. He's out there playing. But at that point in time, he kind of got in the middle of the Saints offensive line, realized he wasn't going to get the penetration, and then just kind of backed up a little bit and got his hands in the air.
2nd and 10 Saints from the New Orleans 25. Breeze from the shotgun, looks right, now back to his left. Throws to Devery Henderson on the left sideline, and he stumbles and falls with Westbrook coming over to touch him down. They'll spot the football in front of the Redskin bench right up around the 40-yard line of New Orleans.
Well, good to see Devery back out there. The last time we saw him after a reception, he went down with that left hand injury. But I think you can also see what Christian was pointing out, that if there is a problem with the field, it's over on the sidelines where everything drains. As Devery went down right there, when he got up, he's got mud all over his sleeve, all over his back, and one thing and another. So that's the area of the field you want to try and avoid if you can.
That was a 14-yard gain, and that's exactly right. Having been down in the field prior to the game, the edges are very slick. 1st and 10 Saints. Football spotted at the New Orleans 39, and Drew Brees with some problems with his alignment.
Well, there is a flag back there. One official is saying there was delay of game. Drew Brees was calling a timeout because he could see the clock.
Timeout was called by New Orleans prior to the delay of game penalty. That's their first charge timeout.
So the Saints do call the timeout prior to the play clock hitting 0. And so we will step aside. 6:53 to play before halftime. Redskins 10 and the Saints 3. This is the New Orleans Saints.
And let's go right down to Christian Garrick with a River Parish Disposal Saints Sideline Report. Gomer, what you got?
Hokie and Jim, it looks like there might be a little bit of a communication issue between the plays coming in from Coach Payton to Drew Brees. He's had to signal over to Coach Payton almost as if to say, hey, repeat that again. So that's why the play clock's kind of been winding down a little bit.
After the timeout, 1st and 10 Saints at the New Orleans 39-yard line. Mike Bell, the lone running back. Play action to him. Brees with time, going to throw deep down the middle of the field for Henderson, and it's incomplete. Very nearly picked off by LaRon Landry. A pair of LSU Tigers battling for the football, and that was very well covered by a couple of the Redskins, including middle linebacker London Fletcher, who was some 60 yards downfield.
Well, actually, that ball was a little bit underthrown. Devery had about a half a step right there. Drew gets it out a little bit further in front of him. That's why Devery couldn't come back to try and make the play. And O'Reilly Auto Parts will donate $4 per rushing yard to Heath Evans Foundation, fostering hope and healing in sexually abused children.
2nd and 10 Saints from the New Orleans 39. Brees out of the shotgun. Steps up, throws, catch made, short of midfield. That was Robert Meacham on the catch, and again, that was LaRon Landry on the coverage. They pat each other on the shoulder pads as they both regain their feet.
And that's enough for a first down. I mean, it looked like about a 5-yard gain, and I said, I'm going to continue to complain about our vantage point up here because it's so difficult to tell from the end zone down here.
Actually, it was an 11-yard gain. Here's Pierre Thomas running hard down to around the 40-yard line of the Redskins. I think you could make a case for Pierre Thomas being the most underrated back in the NFL.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. When you look at what he does, because one thing that a lot of people are not going to notice, I mean, they can look at his stats and, he's averaging 5.6 yards a carry, or you can watch him catch some passes and everything else, but how valuable he is in pass protection.
That is a 10-yard gain and another first down for the Saints at the 40-yard line of the Redskins. 5:44 to play before halftime. 10-3 Skins on top. From the shotgun, Brees has all sorts of time. Going to throw deep. Colston wide open. Touchdown. 5 yards deep in the end zone. He was behind LaRon Landry on a 40-yard touchdown strike.
Well, and with that touchdown pass, the Breeze Green Foundation was energized by South Coast Solar with another $150 donation. South Coast Solar, dependable, renewable energy. SouthCoastSolar.com. Kind of took the Saints a little while to get things going. In their outfits that you and I mentioned in the break just a minute ago, they just didn't seem to be as sharp and as crisp, but right there on that particular drive, and anytime if you go to sleep in the secondary against Drew Brees, he will find the deep man.
And the Saints did a great job of protecting him, enabling him to find Colston on a 40-yard strike. Garrett Hartley comes on and adds the extra point, and after trailing early 10-0 in the first quarter, the Saints have scored 10 unanswered points to tie things up.
Okay, Jim, while we got the break right here, we'll give you the scores of the other games in progress, and this NFL scoreboard is brought to you by Bud Light, official beer of the Saints. In the second quarter, it's Chicago 10, St. Louis nothing. New England leads Miami 14-7. Philadelphia still hanging on to that 10-0 lead over Atlanta. We'll keep a close eye on that all day long, because with the Atlanta loss or Saints win, you lock up the division. The Colts lead Tennessee 14-3. It's Pittsburgh over Oakland 10-6. Denver over Kansas City 14-3. Also in the second quarter, it's Carolina 10, Tampa Bay 6. Jacksonville leads Houston 17-0, and the Cincinnati Bengals lead the Detroit Lions 14-7. Again, those are all second quarter scores, and that's the other games in progress. And that scoreboard was brought to you by Bud Light, official beer of the Saints.
Drive started on the Saints 13-yard line in 9 plays. They cover 87 yards in 4 minutes and 27 seconds. Drew Brees, extremely well protected, finds Marcus Colston on a 40-yard touchdown strike. Hartley's extra point ties things at 10 with 5:34 to play before halftime.
And let's go right down to Christian Garrett for a River Parish Disposal Saints Sideline Report. Go Holmes, what you got?
Hokie coming off the field, Jeremy Shockey just turned to Brees and just said, "You're flat out awesome."
Well, I could have said that.
Yeah, but they would have listened to Shockey. The Saints now have 175 total yards to the Redskins 113, and time of possession tilts now in the Saints' favor, 14:04 to 10:22.
Yeah, well, see, that's that old Greg Williams thing of just sitting back saying, look, I'm going to play it safe. I'm not going to let this I want the other team to score first so I can figure out what they're doing and make the adjustments. No, it's just a matter, look, the Redskins have been playing a good first half right here, especially in that first quarter. They were getting after the quarterback. They were coming up. They were hitting people. Jason Campbell was in a rhythm. And I really don't see the Redskins changing their game plan offensively. I think they're going to keep Jason Campbell in that short 3- and 5-set drop and not allow the Saints pressure to get to him.
Here's Morstead to kick it away. A knuckleball, far side of the field. Devin Thomas scoops it up around the 2. Back to the 20. And he'll be dropped around the 22, perhaps the 23-yard line. Saints doing a good job downfield coverage. Chris Reese, the first tackler, Jeff Charleston, and Pearson Prelo there as well.
Well, if there is some wind up there in the upper part of this stadium, maybe Morstead right there has found out the answer to that. You just hit that low line driver. Yeah. It doesn't have to look pretty, but at least you get a lot of depth on that ball.
It's like your drive on the golf course, one of those worm burners. Well, that got more airborne than your drives do.
And it went a lot straighter.
Marcus Mason checks in, has the lone setback on first down. Short set by Campbell. He throws it up to the 31-yard line to his tight end, Fred Davis, who has been very active here in the first half. That's a 9-yard gain.
Well, and one thing that you're going to have to be aware of Saints defense, and I'm not saying right now it might be a little bit too early, but if they're going to continue with the 3- and 5-set drop, at some point in time, you figure Jason Campbell's going to launch one downfield. He's going to have to take that 7-step drop, but if you've been doing it all game long, you kind of suck that Saints defense up tight.
2nd and 1 from the 32. Throw it out in the left flat to Moss. He'll be taken down by Malcolm Jenkins, but a Redskin first down. Malcolm Jenkins getting the start on the corner today. The rookie playing off the receiver somewhat. And so that's where Campbell goes for the first down. Up at the 36-yard line of the Redskins.
Well, Santana Moss has been in the league for quite some time, but he's still got that burner speed. And if you're Malcolm Jenkins, you're out there, you've got to give him that little bit of a cushion, because one step, if he gets past you, it's all over.
1st and 10 from the Redskin 37. Mason, the lone setback. Campbell going to throw it out there again to Santana Moss. This time in front of Mike McKenzie on the far sideline. Scampers out of bounds up around the 45-yard line of the Redskins. Short of the first down. You'll remember Santana Moss had the backbreaker last year here in that loss that the Saints suffered in the second game of the season. That 67-yard touchdown strike that he had against Tracy Porter. So the clock continues to run. Shows 3:55 to play before halftime. 2nd and 2 for the Redskins from the Washington 45. Campbell out of the shotgun. 2 receivers to his right, 1 to the left. Here's Campbell, and he's going to throw it through the hands of his tight end Davis. As coming from the backside was Scott Shanley. Campbell felt that heat, threw it hard and through the hands of his tight end.
Well, but it kind of shows you right there that Campbell was aware of that, knew that he didn't have anybody on the backside to pick up Shanley. He's coming free. He feels the pressure. It's a screen pass, but he says, I don't have time. Let this thing set up. And then by throwing it that way, you don't get called for intentional grounding and you don't put the ball at risk.
Both outside linebackers, Evans and Shanley, were coming. So it brings up 3rd and 2 from the Redskin 45. Campbell pumps, looks right, going to throw deep, got a receiver down there. Moss takes it in stride, and he'll be hauled down by Jenkins inside the 20-yard line. In the red zone of the Saints as Santana Moss comes away with the reception. Beautifully thrown ball by Jason Campbell, good for a 38-yard strike.
And what he does right here, you see him come back, makes the pump fake, and that buys him a little extra time. He still didn't take the 7-step drop, but that gave his receiver an opportunity to get deep.
And so the Redskins threatening once more. 1st and 10 from the Saints 17-yard line. 3:20 to play before halftime. We're tied at 10. Mason in there as the lone setback. 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right for Campbell. He pumps right, throws over the middle. Catch made, tackle made around the 10-yard line as Malcolm Kelly is dropped, the second-year receiver out of Oklahoma. So they will spot the football at the Saint 11-yard line, and it'll bring up 2nd and 4. Moss split out wide to the left where Mike McKenzie steps in front of him. Randall L. along with Thomas to the near side of the field. Mason behind Campbell. Throwing it out into the left flat to Moss. Moss slips the tackle of McKenzie and is taken down around the 5-yard line. Jonathan Vilma over there. As again, the footing is very soft on the edge of the field.
I'll tell you what, it's actually a good job. And Mike McKenzie right there, you can see he's playing way off. And as I was looking at it, I said, that's where Campbell's going to go. And one missed tackle, and you probably got, but nice job by Darren Sharper coming from center field right there. Close that thing off and make the open field tackle.
A timeout on the field momentarily with 2:27 to play. Didn't hear any call from the referee as to who has taken this timeout. I assume maybe the Saints here who have called timeout.
Well, Jim, so far in this half there have been no challenges, but if there was, it would be brought to you by First Bank and Trust, official bank of the Saints. First Bank and Trust challenges you to see business made personal. In River Ranch, go see Market Area President Kevin Judas at 1201 Camellia Boulevard, Suite 100.
So the football is spotted at the 5-yard line of the Saints, where it is 1st and goal for the Redskins, looking to retake the lead. Mason, the lone setback behind Campbell, who's up under center. Going to throw it quickly and is batted down at the line of scrimmage. trying to get it out into the right flat once more to Santana Moss, but it was swatted away by Troy Evans, I believe, who was coming off the corner.
Well, you probably heard me and Bobby collectively say it 1,000 times. The best pass defense is a good pass rush. And that's one thing the Saints are not able to create today, just because it's not, because the Washington offensive line is doing such a great job. They're just so banged up. They're keeping it to a short drop. Campbell's getting rid of the football, and the Saints defensive line and their linebackers got no chance to pressure him.
2nd and goal from the 5. Play action. Campbell throwing it out to the near side, and this will be taken in for the touchdown by Malcolm Kelly. A well-designed play resulting in the touchdown strike of 5 yards as the Redskins go back on top.
Well, that Saints defense, I'm not saying that they're confused by what the Redskins are doing. It's just a good, solid game plan. Everything's going underneath. They've taken one shot deep, and that was to Santana Moss. And, well, actually, they've taken 2 shots deep because in the first quarter, they went deep one time, and they got a pass interference call on Malcolm Jenkins, and they're picking that time to make that long ball at the right time. But everything else they're doing is just underneath, and it's I think it's just something it's just catching the Saints off guard. They're not able to get enough pressure on Campbell to rattle him.
Let me check that call. That was Devin Thomas on the touchdown reception. Good for 5 yards as Sean Sweesom comes on to add the extra point, and the Redskins go back on top, answering the Saints' unanswered 10 points in the second quarter with a touchdown drive of their own.
All right, well, you got 2 minutes and 17 seconds, 1 timeout, plus the 2-minute warning for the Saints. You got the hands in the football of Drew Brees, so, there's a lot of things that can happen here in these waning minutes of the second quarter, because Drew Brees is a guy that if I'm a defensive coordinator would not like to have to face him in a 2-minute warning situation, and that's one of the better things that the Saints do when they're running out of time in the first half is run that 2-minute and 3-minute offense.
The Redskins go 78 yards in 9 plays in 3 minutes and 17 seconds. 5-yard touchdown pass from Jason Campbell to Devin Thomas, his 2nd touchdown reception of the season. 2nd-year wide receiver out of Michigan State. So the Saints with some work to do. The Redskins have won just 3 games this season. They have all been at home, but 5 of their 8 losses have been by less than a touchdown. And that's one of the things that has allowed their fans to stay behind them and for them to keep their head up. As I mentioned in the outset of games, the problem has been the Redskins' inability to finish when they've been in position to win. And now they are back in the lead at 17-10. Here's Sweesom's kickoff. Fielded by Roby at the 8-yard line. Straight ahead, now veers to his left, and he'll be taken down as he crosses the 20-yard line. That's where the Saints will have it with 2:12 remaining before halftime and 1 timeout at their disposal. The Redskins, having lost their last 2 games, but 3 games prior, they upset the Denver Broncos here 27-17 before falling at Dallas 7-6 and at Philadelphia 27-24. 1st and 10 Saints from the New Orleans 21-yard line. Brees opens in the shotgun. Dumps it off to Reggie Bush. Bush looking for a block. Runs to the near sideline. Out of bounds in front of the Redskin bench as he crosses the 30-yard line. It looks like it will be a Saint first down. The ball is spotted right at the 30.
Actually, they did give him they just gave him a 9-yard gain, so it's 2nd.
That is a 2-minute warning.
Just short of the first down by a yard.
And here's your warning from the Louisiana Partners for Highway Safety, reminding everybody to buckle up.
2 minutes remaining in the opening half. Redskins leading the Saints 17-10. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network. Back to FedEx Field. We're in the final 2 minutes of the opening half. The Redskins came out and scored 10 unanswered points in the first quarter. 8-yard touchdown pass, Jason Campbell to Fred Davis, and a 32-yard Sean Sweesom field goal. Saints came alive in the second quarter as Garrett Hartley hit a 34-yard field goal, 10-3 Washington. 40-yard touchdown Breeze to Colston, tied at 10. And then most recently, A 9-play, 78-yard drive in 3 minutes and 17 seconds, resulting in a 5-yard touchdown pass from Jason Campbell to Devin Thomas as the Redskins go back on top by a score of 17-10.
Well, I mean, Jim, you really look at both clubs right now. I mean, what both the Saints and the Redskins doing offensively, everybody's pretty well in the air. The Redskins started off the game running it pretty good, but they found out that short passing game is working so well for them. And the Saints are in a situation playing from behind that they pretty well have to throw it.
On 2nd and 1 from his 30, the Saints chose to throw the ball, incomplete as it were, intended for Marcus Colston. LaRon Landry on the coverage for the Redskins. The Redskins have been riddled by injury, particularly along the offensive line and in the offensive backfield. Saints will come out and go for it on 3rd and 1. Run it with Reggie Bush quickly.
I don't believe he got it, Jim.
And if he just got barely across the 30-yard line. He needed to get to the 31.
Second charge timeout, Washington. A 30-second timeout.
Yeah, he didn't get it. When Reggie caught that screen pass, the first play after the kickoff, he probably should have been a little bit more aware of where the sticks were. He caught it, and he jumped to the outside. He made a nice move to set everything up, but he just kind of casually ran out of bounds as opposed to really paying attention to where the markers were. Then you come back with an incompletion, and then the Saints go for it, on the quick snap, run the football. He bounces that outside. He gets tackled. And now the Saints are in a situation where, it's 4th down. Even though it's about a foot and a half, you're not going to go for it in this situation. I mean, you got no choice but to line up and punt it.
That's a very good point. Reggie could have picked up the first down. He wasn't under that much duress, but as you mentioned, he very casually went out of bounds in front of the Redskin bench, setting up 2nd and 1, but the Saints could not convert on 2nd or 3rd down, and so Morstead must punt the football away to Antoine Randall L. It's a wobbly punt and a very poor punt by Morstead. It might have hit a Redskin. It hit a Redskin, and the Saints have covered it up at the 40-yard line. The punt was so poor that Usama Young was able to pick up the muff. The ball hit a Redskin blocker, which makes it a free ball.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt about it. You could tell that there's a wind issue kicking in that direction because everything just kind of gets up there and dies. And right there, as you said, it looked like the Redskins were going to be in great position because of such a poor
punt.
on
the field is that the punt touched a member of the receiving team. The player of New Orleans who recovered it is eligible to recover it. It'll be New Orleans ball, 1st and 10.
Looked like it was Kevin Barnes who was back there blocking. No fault of his, really. The punt was just so poor that it hit him. He never saw the ball, nor should he have. He's there as a blocker, but it hit Barnes and was free, and Usama Young comes up with the muff, giving the Saints a great break at the 41-yard line of the Redskins with 1:34 to play before halftime. Let's see if they can capitalize. Breeze opens in the shotgun. Movement up front by the Redskins. Here's Breeze throwing downfield, looking for a receiver that's incomplete, intended for Henderson, and he was bracketed by Westbrook along with Landry. Looked to be movement up front. Might have been a free play for the Saints.
Number 99, defense, 5-yard penalty. Repeat 1st down.
That was Andre Carter who jumped across, and Breeze saw it. That's why he threw into double coverage deep downfield into a very sloppy corner of the playing field down around the 10-yard line.
And just from the eyeball look, if you're sitting up here, that one spot right there, it goes between about the 7-yard line and to about the 15. It doesn't even pass the eyeball test from up here.
1st and 5 from the 36. Here's Breeze throwing, and it's caught by Reggie Bush. A stutter step as he is down to around the 28-yard line of the Redskins.
Sometimes I think he creates more problems with that stutter step and trying to change direction. He catches that. It's not really a drag route that he's running there. It's a delay route. And if he catches it, he's going on full speed.
1st and 10 from the 28. Here's Breeze throwing. One-handed reception cannot be made by Shockey at the 15-yard line as he was covered by the strong safety Reed Doughty. That stops the clock with 1 minute remaining. And it'll bring up 2nd and 10 at the Redskin 28-yard line. Saints trying to take advantage of a break. A big one it was. The poor punt by Morstead that hit a Redskin and was recovered on the muff by Usama Young. 2nd and 10. Redskin 28. Breeze in the shotgun. In trouble. Tries to set up a screen, but Reggie Bush had fallen down at the 38-yard line, and there was nobody out there to throw the ball to. So the incompletion stops the clock with 55 seconds remaining before the half.
And, it's kind of a shame there, Jim, because the Redskins were kind of bringing the house. They had a lot of people coming on a blitz, and if he can get it to Reggie Bush, there's not that many defenders out there to help stop that pass.
The officials are huddling up and now throwing a flag.
They're going to say intentional grounding.
Yep. Because Bush had fallen down. He took on the defensive end and then was to get out in a pattern.
Now, I think they might be saying it was an eligible man downfield.
Ineligible downfield, number 73 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat third down.
That's Jari Evans, who was downfield.
And the killer with that is, you're getting yourself farther and farther away from a field goal opportunity. So, now with third, and that's going to be what, about 17?
Officially, they're calling it 3rd and 15.
Correction, it's going to be 2nd down.
Okay,
second down.
They went back to 2nd down. So
2nd and 15 from the 33. Scoreboard still reads 13, and now the 3rd down. Now they've got it 2nd down and 15 from the Redskin 33-yard line. Some confusion along the defensive front for the Redskins as they set Hainsworth over on the left side of their front four. Here's Breeze pumping, looking, and he's going to be dropped on the sack way back around the 48-yard line. Laron Landry, I believe it was, coming in from his free safety position to drop Breeze for the first time today.
3rd and final start, timeout, New Orleans.
And boy, does that hurt.
Well, you're basically, if you're the Saints right now, you're in a Hail Mary mode right now. You just got to drop back and launch something. You went from being in marginal field goal range to now being, heck, if it was 4th down right now, you wouldn't have any choice but to punt it. So just drop back and launch something with 43 seconds to go right here. You just hope for the best. Hopefully you'll get some kind of pass interference call. Maybe one of your guys will come up with something big, but even something safe like a screen pass is not going to do much good for you because there's just so much ground to cover between there and when the Saints can get into field goal range.
They had it 1st and 10 at the 28. It is now 3rd and 26 from the 44. With 43 seconds remaining before the half. Meacham, Colston, and Shockey to the near side of the field. Henderson to the far. Breeze in the shotgun. Pierre Thomas alongside him. Redskins bring 4. Breeze, double pump, still can't find anybody. Retreats, throws it downfield into a crowd, and that is going to be intercepted. Coming up with it is Kareem Moore. Kareem Moore is going to have the ball taken away from him by Meacham. Meacham stole the ball. 10, 5, touchdown Saints. My goodness. Robert Meacham finds a new way of getting into the end zone, stealing the ball from Kareem Moore, who had intercepted.
All right, well, what you're going to see is Jim Zorn right now. He's going to challenge it to see if, in fact, it was an interception.
Well, they're in the final 2 minutes. It would have to come from upstairs.
Well, it could come from upstairs, yeah. But they'll see, in fact, if it was an interception. Great heads-up job there by Robert Meacham getting in there to make the tackle and strip it away.
The officials continue to talk.
The ruling on the field is that the ball was intercepted, subsequently fumbled, and recovered and returned for a touchdown.
Fifth straight game with a touchdown for Meacham if it stands, but in the most unlikely manner. So they're going to take another look at it upstairs as we await the outcome. 22 seconds remaining before halftime, pending the extra point. 17-16 Washington, our score.
Well, Drew Brees does a great job of staying alive on that play. And again, they're going to have to take a look at this, see what happens, and all that kind of stuff, because there's a lot of confusion down there. We just saw a glimpse of the replay. Don't know whether that ball ever hit the ground or not.
going to be tough, I would think, to get a good angle on that one because there was so much traffic. Shockey was going for the football, and so was Kareem Moore along with another defender. And the ball was thrown right into the midst of them. We'll get another look at it here. Going to be difficult to overrule this based on that angle.
You can't tell anything from that.
It was LaRon Landry who was down there with Kareem Moore. Kareem Moore, by the way, a second-year man from Nicholls State. Take another look at that angle, Hoke, and what do you see?
Kind of the same thing. It's so hard to tell. Does look like, I don't know. I mean, it looks like that ball might have hit the ground when Moore first came up to get it. But there again, I don't know if there's anything what you would say is really clear cut.
You can see in the background as they show us the replay once more, Sean Payton screaming and running down the sideline with Robert Meacham. Our referee is Carl Sheffers, who's been under the hood.
Well, you definitely cannot tell from if you get the end zone shot because Moore's body was in the way. So, I mean, there's no way that you can find visual evidence to overturn that. If you get maybe a sideline angle or something, you could possibly see whether the ball hits the ground. But right there, you got Shockey's body in the way, you got Moore's body in the way, and then there's another Redskin defender there.
Well, we've got the replay booth right next to us here, so we can get a very good look to our left.
Well, you know, there's another option they got that, if they do in fact call an interception by Moore, did Jeremy Shockey touch him, and is he considered down at that point?
I don't know if that could be addressed. I mean, they've got to determine if it's an interception. I think that's the only thing that they can. That's the only point of challenge. Again, they're debating to see whether this interception was made by Kareem Moore. He was subsequently stripped of the football. You know, Greg Williams is always preaching strip the football, but very seldom do you call upon your wide receiver to do that.
That's right. And I mean, hey, Robert Meacham heads up. I mean, that ball pops right up in the air, and he picks it up on a dead, not picks it up, he catches it out of air on a dead run.
Sean Payton on the far sideline with his arms crossed. Jim Zorn on the near sideline with a concerned look on his face as well. Because, boy, these would be two huge plays going in the Saints' favor here, although they didn't initially capitalize on the muff on the short punt recovered by Usama Young. The Saints were going in the wrong direction before that Hail Mary downfield that may have found an answered prayer after an interception.
Whew, it gets crazy up here. It kind of gives you an idea of what the officials have to go through when they have to make split-second decisions. And, I mean, this is something, I mean, if the referee, if the only thing he's got to look at is what we've had an opportunity to look at, he's going to have a hard time overturning that because I don't think there's any indisputable evidence.
Yeah, it's been over 2.5 minutes he's been looking at this thing, so it has to be irreversible visual evidence, clear visual evidence, and obviously it's not too clear to him through the first 2.5 minutes that he's been looking at every available replay. Carl Sheffers, our referee, I don't ever remember him doing a Saints game in the past.
I don't either. That's, other names, Ed Hockley and Walt Coleman, and here we go. Is he coming out from underneath the hood now?
He is. And, boy, this will be a huge call. Here we go.
After review, the ruling on the field stands.
Yes.
Touchdown.
Saints bench erupts. Towels are thrown in the air. Players jumping around. And Robert Meacham being congratulated all over again as the Saints catch lightning in a bottle here in the final 30 seconds of the first half.
Well, how about this, Jim? This is the 5th straight game that Robert Meacham has a touchdown. I don't think he ever expected it to come in that fashion.
Nope. He's been a more integral performer for the Saints.
Third and final charge timeout. Washington. A 30-second timeout.
Week in and week out, but never in this manner. The Redskins utilize a timeout.
Yeah, and let's go right down to Christian Garrett with the River Parish Disposal Saints Sideline Report.
As wild and zany as that play was, Remy Adele turns to Cedric Ellis and just said, I've never seen anything like that before. Well, I kind of shook my head in agreement. I mean either.
Third and final charge timeout.
No, I don't think I have either, and I've been watching Saints football and seen a lot of zany plays down through the years, but never one quite like that.
Most of the time the Saints were on the losing end of that. They had the River City Relay. That was, that went in their favor, but, it's just good heads-up play, and, I guess that's why one of the Saints' mantra all year long has been finish strong and, never quit and things like that, because you never know what's going to happen.
Well, the delay has been so long that Jason Kyle over on the sideline was practicing his extra point snap to Mark Brunell because there's been such a delay between the initial determination and the final one that results in the touchdown. And on comes Garrett Hartley to attempt the extra point. Low snap, and Hartley puts it up and through. So after all that practice, Jason Kyle's snap is a low one. Mark Brunell picks up a very nice job on what has to be a cold and rather slick football, puts it down, and Garrett Hartley bangs it through. And with 22 seconds remaining in the half, the Saints have now tied things up at 17 all.
Okay, well, it goes to show you again that, for everybody that might be sitting out there saying, well, John Carter needed to be benched this week, something like that, there continues to be problems. It's a 1, 2, 3 process. You got to have the snap, then you got to have the hold, then you have to have the kick. And I, at least in my own mind, against the Patriots on Monday night, when John Carney missed the field goal, to me it looked like exactly the same kind of snap. The ball was horizontal on the ground when Mark Brunell tried to pick it up, but we don't get the opportunity to review the tape, things like that. But anyway, you can see it's still a work in progress right now through the 13th week of the season.
Yeah, it really is. And, Kevin Hauser was cut by the Saints because of an off-the-field issue. That was the determining factor in getting him released, because I don't ever recall Kevin Hauser having a bad snap, and all the time he spent with the Saints. Jason Kyle, Mark Brunell, John Carney, and now Garrett Hartley continue to work on the process. So here's Morstead to kick it away in the final 22 seconds of a crazy second quarter. Here's his kickoff. It'll be fielded down around the 2-yard line by Devin Thomas. Devin Thomas across the 20, running to the near sideline. This play is strung out by Roman Harper, and he pushes him out of bounds in front of the Redskin bench after a 22-yard return. There are 14 seconds remaining on the second quarter clock, and the Redskins are out of timeouts, as are the Saints.
Well, you can rest assured that several of these plays here in the second quarter will make it on the ESPN highlights tonight.
Wild. And this crowd is stunned. They were in such an uproar when the Saints had squandered 1st and 10 from the 28-yard line, were marching backward, and then the throw by Breeze was such an obvious prayer. Redskins come up with the interception. Crowd erupts. Robert Meacham takes it out of the hands of the defensive back Kareem Moore and takes it in for the touchdown. Jason Campbell kneels, allowing the final 12 seconds of the first half to come off the clock here at FedEx Field, and a dramatic turn of events.
If I may say so, that's the best interception I've ever seen.
Best interception that Drew Brees has ever thrown, resulting in a touchdown. And so, after the first half of football here at FedEx Field, the Saints and the Redskins are tied at 17. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
Here's the AT&T Saints halftime show on the Saints Radio Network. Switch to the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered.
Hey, welcome to the AT&T halftime show. At halftime, it is the Saints 17, the Redskins 17. Time to take a look at halftime stats, and they're brought to you by Louisiana Machinery. First team stats, total yards, the Saints with 181, the Redskins with 190. The breakdown, the Saints 159 yards passing, 22 yards rushing, 15 minutes, 59 seconds in time of possession. The Redskins 149 yards passing, 41 on the ground, 14 minutes and a second in time of possession. Drew Brees, 15 of 23 in the first half, 170 yards. 1 touchdown, 1 interception, a rating of 83.6. Jason Campbell, a good first half, 14 of 20, 149 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, a rating of 124.8. Yards on the grounds have been stingy by both teams today. The defense is really putting a clamp down. Pierre Thomas, 4 carries for 13 yards. Mike Bell, 4 carries for 6 yards. Gantner has 3 carries for 21 yards for the Redskins. Cartwright, 5 carries for 20 yards. In the receiving department, Pierre Thomas, 4 receptions, 42 yards. Robert Meacham, 3 grabs, 24 yards. Devery Henderson, 2 for 24. Marcus Colston, 1 for 40, including that 40-yard touchdown reception. Fred Davis leads the way for all receivers, 5 receptions, 53 yards, and a score. Thomas for the Redskins, 2 grabs, 15 yards, and a touchdown. Santana Moss, 4 receptions for 58 yards. And leading the way defensively, Malcolm Jenkins with 4 tackles, all solos on the afternoon, followed by several players tied with 3 tackles, including Troy Evans, Remy Ayadale, Scott Shanley, Darren Sharper, and Will Smith, along with Mike McKenzie. Rocky McIntosh leading the way for the Redskins with 5 stops. We are at halftime. It is Washington 17, New Orleans 17. We will continue with the AT&T Halftime Show on the New Orleans Saints Radio Network. And welcome back to the AT&T Halftime Show. AT&T, your world delivered. We're at halftime at FedEx Field. It's New Orleans 17, Washington 17. Bobby Abear's halftime commentary is brought to you by Subway. Eat fresh. $5 footlong subs on everyday value at Subway. And Bobby, there's a song entitled, "It Doesn't Matter How You Get There as Long as You Get There." And the Saints tied the Redskins. A strange play at the end, but if we learn anything, it is always play until the whistle blows. And that's what happened with Robert Meacham. Big play at the end to give the Saints a big lift.
Yeah, Big Chief, and that helped us then in the first half to be +1, in that turnover ratio. You look at what came about towards the end. I mean, freakish-type plays. Marstead hits a bad punt, but it ricochets off a Redskins defender. Sama Young ends up recovering it. So we have a second life as far as the 2-minute drill to try and tie the game, get the ball on the 41-yard line. Now, a good design with their sack with Landry on Breeze, and then a 3rd and 26, Drew trying to get back in field goal range. Then Kareem Moore, here's a kid from Nicholls State right there in Thibodeau. He intercepts the pass. But, I mean, to me, that's the play of the year. Robert Meacham strips him, all of a sudden gets in the end zone at 17-17. You're going to get the best fight from a team like the Redskins. I mean, they have nothing to lose. They're playing for pride. And just to show you, Deke, how the season has gone for both teams, the Saints have scored 221 points in the first half. The Redskins, the whole season throughout the game, has scored 187. But like I said, the Redskins are coming to play. I've been a little disappointed the way we've run the ball in that first half. You look at the Redskins, they were 25th coming into the game against the run, number 1 against the pass, number 7 overall. We had -1 yards rushing after the first quarter. Really, our first good run, they come about with like 9 minutes and 50 seconds left in the second quarter. Pierre Thomas went for +5. Mike Bell went for +4.5. But, Deke, before that punting episode, that's why you cannot leave yardage on the field. Breeze to Reggie on that screenplay. He goes +9 and he casually goes out of bounds. You got to get the first down. You got to be more aggressive. We've seen him more aggressive, especially in that Rams game. You cannot just go and run out of bounds. You have to secure those yardage. And then we had the incompletion when Breeze had stumbled, and then no gain on a 3rd and 1. Yeah, there's a couple of episodes where we've not been able to convert on 3rd and short, kind of like what we seen last year when we played the Redskins in the fourth quarter. So hopefully we'll have more continuity on offense, sustaining drives. I mean, that one touchdown pass, that was vintage Breeze to Colston, 40 yards when he had a double move on Landry, another Louisiana boy from LSU that he burned him on that touchdown. But what I've also been disappointed, Deke, besides us not being able to run the football like I know we're capable of, is the pass rush. There have been at times when you look at Campbell, he has too much time to throw unless we're blitzing. We need to get a better pass rush with a typical 4-man rush, and we haven't been able to do that. Campbell, Deke, I think he just plays his best game against the Saints. Last year he had over 320 yards passing against the Saints. I know that was probably his best game last season. And this year, a very efficient first half. So hopefully we can stay on top of that turnover battle. 17-17, they got to be discouraged because, they let us back into the game. Now it's basically a 0-0 type game, and you know how we've been able to finish in the fourth quarter, and I think that's going to be crucial in the second half in this game.
We will continue with the halftime show. New Orleans 17, Washington 17 on the New Orleans Saints Radio Network. And welcome back to the AT&T Halftime Show. AT&T, your world delivered. Don't forget, coming up after the game, the locker room show this evening gets the point after with the Cajun Cannon, Bobby Hebert. Bobby, second half, what has to happen?
Well, Big Chief, to sustain those drives, obviously we got to convert on third down. I mean, that was very disappointing. We wanted the best third down offense. We were only 2 of 7, 29%. And we also wanted the best third down defense, where they were 3 of 5, 60%. So I'm sure Coach Williams will have a few choice words for the defense, because, we have to step it up, especially when we tied it, 10-10. We let them get the momentum back, and they drove down the field. So I'm sure, we've been able to make adjustments throughout the season with the coaching staff and the players, that I'm looking for a stronger second half with the adjustments. Rushing the football, only 22 rushing yards, 2.2 yard average. No, we got to be somewhere 4 to 5 yards a carry, and so that's going to be crucial. Just get better in those departments, and obviously, if we can continue to create turnovers and protect the football and stay on that plus side, the Saints will end up winning.
That's the Cajun Cannon, Bobby Hebert. Be sure and catch him after the game this evening with the point after. Up next, second half action. Saints sideline reporter Christian Garrett, color analyst Hokie Gajan, and the voice of the Saints, Jim Henderson, bring you the final 30 minutes as the Saints look to get to 12-0 against the Redskins at halftime. It's New Orleans 17, Washington 17. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
And welcome back to FedEx Field. Jim Henderson, Hokie Gajan, Christian Garrick. After a very eventful turn of events late in the second quarter, enabling the Saints to tie things up at 17. They will be kicking the football away to begin the second half. And Hoke, as we mentioned prior to the break, right next to us through this glass partition is the instant replay assistant Larry Nemmers and the instant replay video assistant Lou Nazaro. And all during halftime, they continued to look at that interception that was such a pivotal play in the game by Kareem Moore. The ruling on the field was that he made the interception, was stripped of the football by Robert Meacham, who took it in for the touchdown with the extra point, tying things at 17. And, I was counting up at halftime. I believe that is the 9th return for a touchdown by the Saints this season. 7 defensively. He had that kickoff return by Courtney Roby against the Rams, and then that one on the strip
by Robert Meacham.
And Robert Meacham returning it as a defender, I guess you'd have to say in that respect.
I don't really know how they will score that. Is that a defensive touchdown? Because once you intercept the ball, you I guess officially you now you're an offensive player. So look, I don't care. It was just a heck of a play, and you know what? This thing's all tied up again.
As Thomas Morstead kicks the football away. Coming off the field, it is Thomas around the 11-yard line. Devin Thomas trying to break it out to the left will be tackled around the 25-yard line on the far side of the field. Roman Harper intercedes as Usama Young got into it momentarily with a Redskin who was blocking on the return. That was Robert Henson mixing it up with Usama Young momentarily. So the Saints very fortuitously are engaged in a 17-all tie with the Redskins. On the first play from scrimmage here in the third quarter, 1st and 10 for the Skins from their 26-yard line. Jason Campbell handing it off to Rock Cartwright, and Cartwright is up across the 30-yard line before he is taken down by Cedric Ellis.
Jim, just kind of looking at some of those first half stats, a lot of things even. Saints 15-59 time of possession. The Redskins 14 minutes and 1 second. But you look, the Saints only have 22 yards rushing. The Redskins only 41. And the Redskins really kind of started out the ball game running it pretty good. And the Saints are going against one of the worst run defenses, but they're not running the ball.
2nd and 5 Redskins from the Washington 31. Davis comes in motion. Here's Campbell throwing up the far sideline. It's incomplete. It was intended for Malcolm Kelly and Mike McKenzie on the coverage.
Mike McKenzie continuing to play well. He knows he's got the one-on-one guy to the outside. He just presses him into that boundary. And as that receiver continues to drift toward the boundary, Mike McKenzie knows exactly what to do. Just squeeze him over there, and you don't get yourself in a position to have a penalty on you.
And again, we see the quick 5-step drop and the ball coming out so fast. Campbell was not sacked in the first half, primarily because they were all short sets. behind a patchwork offensive line. 3rd and 5 from the Redskin 31. Out of the shotgun. Campbell runs up and dumps it off on a reception up to the 42-yard line. The catch is made by Antoine Randall L., who had been very quiet in the first half. He had but one reception for 11 yards in the first half, but that will be a Redskin first down up at the Washington 43-yard line.
It's just, it's a tough thing for the Saints defenders just to everybody clamp down on somebody that's just, they're running check down routes, they're running the short drag routes, things like that. It's just, confusion might be the word. Whatever it is, they just, they're not getting it done.
From the 43, here's a throw up the near sideline. Jenkins is victimized by Devin Thomas into Saints territory. So a beautifully thrown ball by Campbell as once again he goes to work on the Saint rookie corner. And that's good for 30 yards.
Well, Jason Campbell is just making this look easy. Watch him. Again, he doesn't take the deep drop, and he just lost a nice soft pass out there to the boundary. And Malcolm Jenkins, actually just kind of sitting right there in the hip pocket of Thomas. He can't make the play on the ball.
1st and 10 Redskins at the Saint 28-yard line. 13-14 to play third quarter. We're tied at 17-all. Cartwright, the lone setback. Quick out, near sideline. This is Thomas. McKenzie misses him, but overcomes Jonathan Vilma along with Troy Evans to knock him out of bounds in front of the Redskin bench. He'll spot the football at the Saint 23-yard line.
You know what? I think that Jason Campbell is going to that play a lot because he knows that the boundary over there is slick, and that's a couple of times now. They've just thrown that little hitch out there to the wide receiver. As the Saints defender comes up there, you want him to make that open field tackle, but it's hard to break down because your feet get away from you.
2nd and 5 from the Saint 23. Pitch it to Cartwright, sweeping right. Rock Cartwright loses his footing as he takes it down inside the 20 to around the 17-yard line of the Saints. That will be good for another first down. Anthony Hargrove trips him up. So the Redskins driving with the opening kickoff of the second half with 12:22 to play. Third quarter, we're tied at 17. 1st and 10 for the Redskins. They'll spot the football at the Saints 16-yard line. Kelly to the near side of the field. Moss and Randall L. to the far side. Campbell up under center with Cartwright behind him. Campbell throws it short out to the right flat, and it's incomplete. Coming up was Chris McAllister and almost got the carom as Santana Moss bobbled the football, and it falls to the turf incomplete.
Kind of goes back to what I was saying there just a minute ago. Chris McAllister's coming up. He wants to make sure that he's breaking down to make that tackle on the guy one-on-one on the outside. And if he's maybe back off a little bit, he probably does get that carom. But, look, I'd a heck of a lot rather him go up there and break down and make the tackle.
And so it is 2nd and 10 from the 16-yard line of the Saints. Devin Thomas to the near side of the field along with Moss. Cartwright behind Jason Campbell. 5-step drop. Campbell sets up a screen to Cartwright left flat. Up comes Jenkins, who upends him around the 10-yard line. Malcolm Jenkins comes up to make the tackle. They'll spot the football right at the 10-yard line of the Saints. It'll bring up third down. Redskins took a 10-0 lead after the first quarter. Saints tied it up at 17 through the first 30 minutes of football. Football is spotted at the 10-yard line of the Saints. 3rd and 4. Thomas wide to the right. Moss to the near side of the field. Campbell in the shotgun. Cartwright stands to his left. Here come the Saints on a blitz. Here's Campbell throwing into the end zone. Incomplete. Over the head of Moss, who broke off the pattern right at the goal line. The ball was thrown to the back of the end zone as the Saints brought Darren Sharper. And that caused Campbell to rush the throw and force the incompletion. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the New Orleans Saints radio network. Sean Sweesum to attempt a 28-yard field goal from the near hash mark. Kick is up, and it is good. And so on the first drive of the second half, the Redskins regain the lead, but by 3. 20-17 our score with 11 minutes remaining in the third quarter. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network. In the opening kickoff of the second half, drive 64 yards in 10 plays in 4 minutes. They settle for a 28-yard Sean Sweezum field goal and a 20-17 lead. Sweezum is now hit from 28 and 32 yards. He will be kicking it off and kicking from this direction. It's been difficult for anybody to put it inside the 10-yard line. Courtney Roby stands back at the St. 4 awaiting the kickoff. And it's dribbled downfield through the legs of Darnell Dinkins to Roby around the 10. He's to the 20, looking for a hole, and he's found one. He's up to the 40-yard line, up to the 45, makes a move and then fumbles the ball out of bounds. But this should be the Saints football.
Well, it definitely went out of bounds. But did you notice how flat that Roby made that cut once he got past it? You know, you kind of got to take that to the defender and put him more in a position right there when he makes that flat cut.
The ball was fumbled forward and out of bounds. It will be turned to the spot of the fumble. First down, New Orleans. Timeout.
He was stripped of the football by Devin Thomas, but the Saints will retain possession of it and have good field position when we return. They will start from the 49-yard line of New Orleans. When we return with 10:51 to play third quarter, Redskins 20 and the Saints 17. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
Email your Southern Recycling Coaches questions to whodatnation@saintsradionetwork.com. Listen to the Saints Coaches Show on the Saints Radio Network tomorrow at 6:30 p.m.
First and 10 Saints spot the football at the New Orleans 48. Run it with Mike Bell. And he doesn't get much. Midfield, that's about all.
Well, the Saints only had 22 rushing yards in the first half against, the 25th or 26th run defense?
25th.
25th in the NFL, and you would have thought, really the way that they have been able to be so balanced. But one thing that they have done that they have been able to take over in the second half and use that run to their advantage. See if they do it this same weekend here.
Saints ran it for only an average of 2.2 yards per carry in the first half. This is Mike Bell, and that's a fairly decent hole as he is inside the 45-yard line of the Redskins.
Like he's going to be, I don't know. Let's see if they move the sticks. Again, it's difficult to tell. Up third down, so he's going to be just shy.
Third and short. Saints will hurry up to the line of scrimmage on 3rd and 1 from the Redskin 43. Bell remains the running back. He gets the call. Bell with second effort.
Should have gotten it. There was a lot of confusion on the part of the Redskins because the Saints did get up there quickly and Redskins guys were jumping all around, and somebody in all that mayhem kind of hit the football with their foot, was rolling around. The officials had to reset it, and Drew Brees was kind of jumping on the officials that, hey, they can't do that.
Well, we haven't seen any signal yet.
Well, we watch the TV right here, that unofficial line that they have, but there again, just a mass of bodies down there, hard to tell.
They'll bring in the chains, the official ones from the near side of the field, and we'll find out here shortly.
I don't think you got it, just based on the way that chain is stretching out now.
About a foot and a half short. Well, will the Saints go for it here on 4th down?
Yeah, it appears that they are. They're bringing in Zach Street, Darnell Dinkins, Marcus Colston, who, not that he's going to be the blocker, but he's a bigger receiver of the bunch.
Saints are 4 out of 11 on 4th down conversions coming into this game. The Redskins, number 1 in the NFL on 4th down defensively. They have allowed just 2 conversions in 10 attempts. Fans rise to the occasion. On 4th and less than 1. They'll run it with Bell, and I don't think he got there.
I don't think he did either.
He slipped and fell, and I do not think he converted. That's not even going to require a measurement. Goes over to the Redskins. So the Redskins hold on 4th down, and they'll get the football back with 9:22 to play third quarter. Redskins 20 and the Saints 17. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
The FedEx Field, Hokie Guys on Jim Henderson and Christian Garrick with the River Paris Disposal Saints Sideline Report.
before the Saints decided to go for it there on fourth down, Redskins safety LaRon Landry turned to the Saints bench after the measurement and kind of, showed them the kick sign as if encouraging them to kick it. And then when they didn't get the conversion on fourth down, LaRon Landry looked over him at it again and kind of like saying, "See, I told you so."
Well, he was right, because the Saints failed to convert. The ball goes over to the Redskins, 1st and 10 from the Washington 44. Campbell up under center. Cartwright behind him. Puts Moss in motion. Campbell drops. Throws. Far sideline. Wide open is Thomas. And he falls down after making the reception. Back on his feet and tackled around the 17-yard line. A blown coverage over there. Mike McKenzie and Roman Harper failing to converge on Devin Thomas, and that's good for a 40-yard gain.
Well, and that's one of the very few things that the Saints, one of the very few coverages that they've blown so far this year, and that's just, again, there you don't know if it's Harper, if it's Mike McKenzie, whatever else, but Jason Campbell is having the type of game this year that he had last year against the Saints.
That's right, when he was nearly flawless. 1st and 10 from the 16. Pitch it to Cartwright, sweeping right. Inside the 15, down to around the 14-yard line.
Yeah, it's almost like the Redskins under the Sean Payton era here, kind of the nemesis that Seattle was for Jim Haslett. For whatever reason, you just couldn't match up with that bunch. You came out, they might have a losing record, or they weren't playing well, or whatever else, but when they would play the Saints on any given Sunday, they had their best performance of the year.
They played very well here, with one notable exception late in the second quarter. 2nd and 7 from the Saint 13-yard line. Campbell out of the shotgun. Here comes Will Smith. Hits him as he delivers, and Jenkins drops the football at the 8-yard line. Malcolm Jenkins had an interception in his hands at the 8. If he gets past Rock Cartwright, he's on his way for about a 90-yard interception return for a touchdown.
Holy cow. One of the very few times that the Saints actually got some pressure on Campbell. I think it was Will Smith coming from his defensive end position, and Malcolm Jenkins makes a great break on the ball, and if he catches that, I don't think Cartwright's in position to make the tackle, because he's looking at the football, kind of sails past him. Jenkins probably would have ran right by him.
3rd and 7 from the 13-yard line of the Saints. Campbell out of the shotgun, puts Thomas in motion. Campbell throws to Thomas on a crossing route, and he is going to be missed on the sideline. If he stays in bounds, this is a touchdown. And it is a touchdown. The Saints unable to push him out of bounds along the sideline. He tight-roped that sideline and took it in from about the 5 when it looked like he is about to step out of bounds.
Well, just like that, the Redskins come out. They jump back to that 10-point lead, just like they did in the first half. The Saints have really got their work cut out for them now, because they right here with 7 minutes, 48 seconds in the third quarter. They have not been able to slow the Redskins game, offensive game at all. The Redskins have only punted one time today, and the defense just, again, with all the short stuff that Campbell is doing, the Saints have just not adjusted well.
Well, that's about a 14-point swing there. If Malcolm Jenkins holds on to the interception, he's probably going to go the distance with it for a score. Instead, when he drops it, enables the Redskins to have one more shot at the end zone, and they get there on the touchdown strike to Devin Thomas, his 2nd touchdown reception of this game. And so with 7:48 to play third quarter, it's now the Redskins 27 and the Saints 17. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
It's a New Orleans Saints tradition. Turn down the sound on your TV and turn up Saints Radio next Sunday, December 13th at noon, when the Saints take on the Falcons in Atlanta. Turn up the Saints Radio Network.
Here's Sweesham's kickoff. This is a good one into the wind. Roby from the goal line. 10-15 to the 20, 25, and up to around the 27 of the Saints.
Well, Jim, the Saints offense got their work cut out for them now. Right now, just through this stage of the third quarter, Redskins 310 yards of total offense. The Saints 190, and the Redskins defense is playing pretty fired up.
And enjoying a 10-point lead, 27-17, 7:43 to play third quarter. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network. Boy, was that a discouraging sequence for the Saints after that Roby return to the 49. The Saints eventually go for it on 4th and 1 from the Washington 43, failed to make it. And 4 plays, 56 yards later, and 134, Redskins are back in the end zone on a 13-yard strike to Devin Thomas. 1st and 10 Saints. They run it with Mike Bell. He cuts it back against the grain, and he's going to be taken down around the 34-yard line. LaRon Landry comes up and hits him around the helmet. Bell looks for a call from the official, gets none. Just a headache for his troubles.
Well, I mean, the way he got yanked around like that, I want to watch this on the replay, but you would have had to figure that had to be a face mask penalty, but it looked like he got him maybe by the back of the helmet.
After a 7-yard gain, it's 2nd and 3 up at the Saint 34. David Thomas in motion, play action Breeze, throws over the middle, catch made by Shockey, ridden down around the 46-yard line by Dowdy. Reed Dowdy, the strong safety, 4th-year man out of Northern Colorado, in on the stop. He had 10 tackles last week in the loss to the Eagles.
And this NFL scoreboard is brought to you by Bud Light, official beer of the Saints. Chicago leads St. Louis 17-9. It's New England over Miami 21-19. Philadelphia all over Atlanta 27-0. Keep an eye on that. Get back to those other scores after the play.
1st and 10 Saints, New Orleans 46-yard line. Breeze throws a quick strike into Shockey, who slants in after being split out wide to the left. And it's Shockey into Redskin territory, but just short of the first down.
Finishing up those scores, Indianapolis leads Tennessee 24-10. It's Pittsburgh over Oakland 10-6. Denver all over Kansas City 34-6. Carolina 13, Tampa Bay 6. Jacksonville 23, Houston 12. And Cincinnati leads Detroit 20-7.
2nd and 2 at the Redskin 47. Backs on an eye. Tailback Bell gets the call. Sweeping left, and he's up on a beautiful tackle by Reed Dowdy. And that'll be a loss on the play.
Well, I'm going to go back to something I said in the first quarter. The Saints are doing a lot of attacking on the perimeter of the Redskins defense, and the Redskins defense is up to the task. They're not letting the Saints get to the outside there, and those safeties are coming up with the proper angles, and I mean, they're just chopping down our running backs out there on all those outside stretch plays or pitch plays.
Bring up a long 3rd and 2 from the 47-yard line of the Redskins. Play action. Breeze has time. Throws, back shoulder, catch made by David Thomas down around the 25-yard line. That'll be a first down. Brought down by the linebacker, Rocky McIntosh. That's a 23-yard gain.
Man, how many times have the Saints been in that position today where, they're in that 3rd, 2.5 range? It's what do you want to do? Do you want to run the ball? Do you want to pass the ball? And right there when they came out and threw it, I mean, you saw Drew Brees goes to his tight end. He's the guy that's got the one-on-one coverage. Like you say, I mean, he makes that back shoulder throw.
1st and 10 Saints. Football spotted at the Redskin 26, 4:40 remaining 3rd quarter. Saints trailing 27-17. Backs in an eye, play action Breeze. Stops, looks, throws, crossing route catch down around the 11-yard line. It's taken in there by Devery Henderson, and he is brought down by the free safety LaRon Landry. The 6th overall pick back in 2007 out of LSU. So the Saints moving downfield nicely here, and this is a big drive for them as they try to cut into that 10-point, 27-17 lead. 1st and 10 at the Redskin 12-yard line to the far end of the field. Colston split out wide to the left. Henderson and Meacham to the near side of the field. This will be Pierre Thomas running straight ahead, and Thomas battles his way inside the 10 down to around the 8-yard line. It's been mostly Bell here in the second half. Thomas gets that call, and they will spot the football at the 8-yard line of the Redskins, where it will be 2nd and 7.
So the Saints can still get another first down because it's not goal to go yet. So just keep on pace right here. I don't know. I mean, I think the running game is fairly effective for the Saints. They just haven't done it a whole lot today.
Bell stays in there, and he is the lone setback. Henderson wide right, Meacham and Colston to the left. Play action, Breeze with time, throws, intended for Colston, and it is incomplete at the back of the end zone. Coverage by Fred Smoot, along with LaRon Landry. Smoot getting the start today on the corner for D'Angelo Hall, who is still inactive with a knee injury. Breeze threw that one into traffic. Got away with it. Brings up 3rd and 7 from the Redskin 8.
Saints are 3 of 9 on 3rd down.
Meacham wide left. Colson and Henderson stacked to the near side of the field. Shockey in there is the tight end to the left side of the formation. Here's Breeze throwing a little quick strike to Henderson, and he'll be ridden down with a flag being thrown on the tackle around the 8-yard line.
Well, that should be some kind of illegal block by the Saints when you got all those guys. I don't like that bubble.
Number 78, offense. That penalty is declined. 4th down.
That's John Stinchcomb, flagged for the illegal block. And he just reached out and extended his hands trying to grab one of the on-rushing would-be tacklers for the Redskins. So on will come Garrett Hartley to attempt another field goal.
Yeah, this has been an adventure all season long. So with a cold, slick football.
Looks to be a 28-yard field goal attempt, right hash mark. Kyle snaps it, Brunel puts it down, and Hartley puts it up and through. So Garrett Hartley getting an opportunity today to show his stuff for the first time this season. Hits from 28 yards out. He had earlier hit from 34.
And he continues to be perfect for the New Orleans Saints. When they brought him in last year, he went 13 of 13. So he's got his 2 field goal attempts today. And again, as we said, it's been a little bit of an adventure for the Saints to make sure that the ball goes through the uprights. But Garrett Hartley doing a good job. Now the question mark is, can this Saints defense stop the Redskins offense for a series? I mean, just do something to get the ball back in the hands of your offense. Let's go down to Christian Garrett with a River Parish Disposal Safe Sideline report. Gomer?
Hoagie, Saints safety Roman Harper trying to rally the defense a little bit, telling them, get a stop. We need one stop. Just get us one stop.
They have not been able to force a turnover apart from the stripping of the football after the interception.
But that was the
by
offense
Robert Meacham.
That was the offense that forced the turnover there.
That's right.
So, and I think I'm still correct in that the Redskins have only punted 1 time today. So the Saints have just not been able to stop the Redskins. I mean, I give them credit for that. I mean, of all the confusion that we heard about, just to kind of put everything in a nutshell for the Saints fans listening back home, when they got oh, heck, I'll have to get the names out because it's Sherman Lewis. They brought him in to be a consultant, and then he calls the play up in the press box, and he sends that to Chris Mike, and he in turn gives that to Sherman Smith, the offensive coordinator, who gives it to Jason Campbell, and it never goes through the head coach.
Here's Morstead's kickoff, fielded by Thomas on the run around the 15-yard line. Straight ahead, and he'll be dropped as he crosses the 30 up around the 35-yard line to the far end of the field. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the New Orleans Saints radio network.
So, Jim, I mean, the point that I'm getting at, I mean, this chain of command of calling a play from the press box actually goes from one coach to the next. Both of them are in the press box. Then it goes down to the sideline, and then it goes to the quarterback. And it sounds very confusing, but they have simplified everything for Jason Campbell and not made it a difficult playbook for him to learn.
1st and 10 Redskins from their 34, handed off to Rock Cartwright, and he's dropped up around the 39-yard line. And Jim Zorn does get the opportunity to call plays, but only in the final 2 minutes of each half.
That's right. And, and when he was calling the plays in the early part of the season, the Redskins were 2-4. And then when they brought in Sherman Lewis, the Redskins are 1-4. So you would think, boy, you've got no you hadn't really gained any ground there, but they said that it's simpler for Jason Campbell. And if you watch what he's doing today, I mean, he looks like Drew Brees did last week, or I should say Monday night against the Patriots.
2nd and 5 for the Redskins from their 39. Straight drop back Campbell. Throws over the middle. Catch made. Pearson Prelo quickly on the receiver, Antoine Randall L.
But there again, going back to the same thing. You see what they're doing. I mean, the Redskins are not getting chunks of yardage. They're just making good, efficient plays over the middle, and they keep the chains moving. And it's almost like running the football, but you're only throwing 4- and 5-yard pass patterns. Those guys are making the receptions, and it's just not enough time for the Saints defense to get to the quarterback.
That one good for a first down, barely to the Redskin 45. Cartwright, the lone setback, gets the call, and he is tackled immediately by Bobby McCray. Playing at left defensive end, he pinches in and brings down Cartwright right around the line of scrimmage.
Certainly the first time we've called the name of Bobby McCray today, and really haven't called his name much all season.
No, he only has 1.5 sacks, was fairly active against the Patriots, but has not been a force. Charles Grant replaces him at left defensive end. Loss on the play of a yard brings up 2nd and 11 from the Redskin 44. Campbell in the shotgun. Randall L. in motion left to right. Campbell steps up, delivers the football, and the catch cannot be made by Antoine Randall L. The ball was thrown low at the 46-yard line. He went down to get it, and Roman Harper was on his back. Randall L. couldn't come away with the football, and one of the few incompletions that Campbell's thrown recently.
Well, you got 27 seconds left to go here in the third quarter right now. I can't tell you, Jim, I mean, this is a huge stop right here for the Saints on third down if they can force the Redskins into a punt, because, even as Christian mentioned that Roman Harper was rallying the troops over there on the sideline and said, guys, we got to go out there and get a stop.
This is the place to do it on 3rd and 11 from the Redskin 44. Campbell in the shotgun. See how many of the Saints come with. And they're going to back off and play coverage. Smith hits it as he delivers the football. Randall L. makes the reception inside the 25-yard line. Ball comes loose, but they're going to say down by contact, and Randall L. is shaken up. But it's a reception all the way down to the Saint 12-yard line.
Well, Malcolm Jenkins right there again. I mean, Randall L. is just running a post route, and Jason Campbell steps up in the pocket. He's got a wide open receiver.
That's the end of the third quarter.
Good for 44 yards. So much for that Saints stop, at least for now. 15 minutes separate the Saints from their first defeat or their 12th victory of this season. Fourth quarter looms. Redskins 27, the Saints 20. This is the New Orleans Saints. 3 of 10, 364 total net yards for the Redskins. The Saints 254. Saints have rushed for only 41, passed for 224. Breeze has been sacked once for 11. Campbell has not been dropped. Saints have been penalized 4 times for 62, and the Redskins 1 for 5. And our score, which is the most meaningful stat of them all, 27-20 Redskins. On 1st and 10 from the Saint 12-yard line. Campbell straight drop back. Dumps it off underneath. And taken down around the 6-yard line is Marcus Mason.
This broadcast is presented by the authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this broadcast without the express written consent of the New Orleans Saints and the National Football League is strictly prohibited. And this disclaimer was brought to you by the lawyers of Stanley, Reuter, Ross, Thornton, and Alford, business litigators for New Orleans and the Gulf South region.
2nd and 4 from the Saints 6-yard line. Mason the lone setback behind Campbell. He gets the call, running straight ahead, bangs into one of his own men, and with second effort, maybe gets a negligible gain down to around the 4-yard line. Marcus Mason, just a little fire plug of a running back, 5'9" and 215, first-year man out of Youngstown State. Saints have not led in this game. They've been fighting from behind all game long. They have twice tied it up at 10 and at 17, and now they trail by 7 once more, with the Redskins looking at 3rd and 1 from the Saint 3-yard line. Everybody in tight with the exception of Moss. Mason is the tailback in the eye, gets the call, runs right, and he's going to be upended by Darren Sharper. And it doesn't look like he got there.
Just so hard to tell from here. I don't hear the fans cheering or anything like that. Hard to tell just exactly where the spot of the ball is. I mean, now you send your field goal unit out there, you bump yourself back up to another 10-point lead, And really and truly, it'd be again, I mean, Saints got off the field on third down, didn't let them convert that time, but now it's instead of punting it that they're going in for the field goal.
Looks to be a 21-yard field goal attempt from the right hash mark. Sweesum has it on its way, and good. And so the Redskins settle for 3 and a 10-point lead with 12:51 to play fourth quarter. Washington 30 and New Orleans 20. This is the New Orleans. Well, the Saints trail by 10 with 12:51 to play fourth quarter. They're keeping one eye cocked somewhat on the Falcons score. Should the Falcons lose today to the Eagles, the Saints would win the NFC South, even should they go on to lose here today for the first time this season to the Washington Redskins.
Well, the Saints are going to have to pull a rabbit out of their hat. You got 12 minutes, 51 seconds left to go in the fourth quarter, and it's 34-0 Philadelphia over Atlanta. So the Saints are going to win it, but how do you figure that? I mean, you win your division by, oh, no.
It was a very short kickoff that Roby could not field. One of the Saints up men tried to bring it in and tried to cover the football. There's a scrum down there as they try to separate folks. No signal as yet who's got the football. No signal as yet. And they're still trying to separate combatants down there.
Well, I mean, you got, apparently there's a Saints player and a Redskins player that are holding on to the football, and neither one of them will let go of it.
And we've seen no signal as yet. The Saints offense remains out there, so they think they have the ball, and apparently they do. We'll try to get another closer look at it on the replay. I think that was Lionel Hamilton who tried to field that football because it was such a short kickoff. So the Saints maintain possession of the ball with 12:48 to play fourth quarter. It's the Redskins 30 and the Saints 20. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network. Well, the Redskins have topped 30 points. It's been a while since that occurred.
The last time they did that was week 16 of the 2007 season. We were told that's, I think that's an NFL record, the longest streak of not doing that.
So on 1st and 10 from his 21-yard line, Drew Brees with work to do. Out of the shotgun. Throws right side. Catch made. Meacham turns it upfield.
Get out of bounds.
And will get to the sideline around the 30-yard line. Robert Meacham with the reception. He'll spot the football right at the 30, so it will be second down and 1.
See, that's not a real smart play there on the part of Robert Meacham. I mean, you got plenty of time here in the fourth quarter, but I think the Saints need to start showing a little bit of sense of urgency on what they're doing, and in a case like that, Meacham needs to get out of bounds.
Pierre Thomas runs right side for the first down. A short gain up to around the 31-yard line.
You still got 3 timeouts to play with and everything else, but you don't want to have to get yourself in that situation where you're constantly going no huddle. You'd like to be able to get in the huddle, and if the situation demands it, you can call 2 plays sometimes or anything like that, but you got to conserve as much time as you can.
1st and 10 Saints. Ball at the New Orleans 32-yard line. 11:48 to play. Saints trail it by 10, 30-20. Brees trying to dump it off, does on the screen play to Thomas. Thomas right side. Pierre Thomas battles his way up beyond the 40-yard line, where he's taken down by Cornelius Griffin. And that will be good enough for a Saint first down.
I don't think I'm going out on a limb here, but that's probably the 4th or 5th screenplay that the Saints have run this game, and it's without question the best game that they've ever played in a long time that I can remember running the screenplay. They've all produced some positive yards.
Gotten some mileage out of that today. 1st and 10 Saints up at the New Orleans 43, 11 minutes remaining fourth quarter. Saints trailing by 10. Brees from the shotgun. A lot of time, throws underneath Pierre Thomas. Thomas taken down around the 47-yard line of New Orleans. Pierre Thomas has had a busy late third quarter into the fourth. That's his 6th catch of this game. Clock continues to run and shows 10.5 minutes remaining. The Saints, with their unbeaten record at risk, in this, the 12th game of the season, trailing by 10, 30-20. 2nd and 5 from the New Orleans 48. Breeze from the shotgun again. Throws over the middle. Shockey with the catch. Leaping reception down around the 40-yard line of the Redskins. And that will be another Saint first down. 10 minutes remaining. Clock running. Saints trailing 30-20. 1st and 10 New Orleans. Ball spotted at the Washington 40-yard line. Saints came into this game averaging 38 points per game offensively. They've scored just 20. The Redskins had not scored 30 all year. They have now. 30-20 our score. 1st and 10 Saints from the Redskin 39. Breeze up under center. Play action. Throws over the middle. It's dropped by Henderson. First drop of the season that we can recall from Devery Henderson at the 25-yard line as he was being covered by Carlos Rogers.
And let's not forget, Devery had that injury in the first half where he fell down and left hand, was something that kept him out for a play or two. But, when you hadn't gotten the ball in a while and that cold weather's getting to it, I mean, those your hands are just not as soft as they normally would be.
2nd and 10 for the Saints. Line of scrimmage, the Redskin 39-yard line. Henderson comes in motion. Run it right side with Bell, and Bell is tripped up, and he has had a very poor day. No running room for him, and not much success when he does find a bit of a crack. He's dropped right at the line of scrimmage.
And now you got yourself in a 3rd and long situation. I mean, if you're the Saints, I basically think you're in 4-down territory here. With the way that the Redskins have been able to just chew up time on the clock and keep the ball away from the Saints.
This defense, coached by Greg Blasch, the former Tulane assistant, trying to rise to the occasion here on 3rd and 11 for the Saints after the 1-yard loss by Bell from the 40-yard line. Here come the Redskins on a blitz. Breeze in trouble, steps up, throws far sideline, coming back for the ball. Meacham makes the reception at the 12-yard line and fights his way out of bounds. Well, Drew Brees kept that play alive, and Robert Meacham comes up with another big play himself, good for 28 yards.
I think that kind of gives you that. There's a couple of times today that Drew has been under duress like that, and you see the strength that the guy's got. I mean, he'll give a guy a left hand stiff arm. Some people hit him and he'll bounce out of it. I mean, that was all on the part of Drew Brees right there. And also Robert Meacham doing a nice job working back to the ball, and then him carrying the defender out of bounds after he caught the ball.
1st and 10 Saints at the Redskin 12-yard line. 8:25 to play. Saints trailing at 30-20. Breeze up under center. Hands it off to Bell. Bell right back in the arms of the defensive line of the Redskins, who throw him down. Albert Hainsworth was there. And Mike Bell, again, finds very little running room.
Well, they just said they ain't none in there, Jim. One of the Redskins is down.
That's Kedrick Golston, who is down and requiring attention. Kind of belatedly, he was standing up after the play and then just suddenly dropped to the ground and was writhing around down there at the 12-yard line. So he's going to require some attention with 8 minutes to play. Let's see where they'll spot the football after that run. They do so at the 11-yard line of the Redskins. Well, the problem for the Redskins this season has been finishing games. They've been in position lots of times to have far more than 3 victories, but haven't been able to finish it off. They've got to be thinking about that right now with 8 minutes to go, having led by 10 points earlier in this quarter.
And it probably doesn't help your mindset at all when one of your defensive starters is out there just wiggling around on the field in pain. And, the one thing that they have done a superb job of in this game is stopping the Saints' run. And, the Saints only have 41 yards rushing today on 20 attempts. So they're just not getting any mileage out of that running game at all. I don't know. I mean, if I'm Sean Payton, put the ball in the hands of the best player you got, which is Drew Brees, and let him take a shot. You're in a situation right now with the Saints being down by 10 with 8 minutes exactly remaining on the clock. You could settle for a field goal right here, but then again, you got to get your defense out there to try and make a stop. But it'd make it a whole lot better if you knew the pressure was off of you. You get the ball in the end zone right now, and it really looks like the only way the Saints could do that is through the air.
Golston comes out with an arm injury, and Mike Bell goes to the sideline, replaced by Pierre Thomas. 2nd and 11. The ball rests at the 12-yard line. Saints can make a first down without scoring a touchdown. Breeze in the shotgun. 3 receivers to the right. Thomas to his left. Sets up the screen. Pierre Thomas. Pierre Thomas tripped up around the 9-yard line as LaRon Landry comes up to get him. And that's the area of the field that is so wet.
Yeah, and I don't think it was that Pierre Thomas was tripped up. I think his feet just got out from underneath him, because you look at the couple of guys that got up from that area of the field, there's mud all over him, and Pierre takes it. As he starts cutting up the field, shoot, they just go right out from underneath him.
So it is 3rd and 9 from the 10-yard line. 7 minutes and 12 seconds remaining. Saints trailing 30-20. Would love to come out of this with a touchdown. May have to settle for the field goal. Meacham in motion. Breeze calls timeout. Play clock is winding down. It looked like Meacham was a bit confused and came in motion belatedly. Breeze looks up at the play clock and calls timeout. Don't want to make a mistake here.
No, Dave, you get it down this far because too many bad things can happen.
6:59 to play. Redskins 30 and the Saints 20. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network. Well, you hate to use a timeout there, but it's also important that you're all on the same page, so the Saints will have 2 timeouts remaining at their disposal.
Yeah, the worst thing you could do, a ball sitting down there right now, right on the 10-yard line, you can still get a first down without scoring a touchdown. So, I mean, the thing you don't want, somebody run the wrong route, throw the ball where they think they're going to be, get a pick or something like that.
3rd and 9 from the Washington 10. Breeze out of the shotgun. Throws, and it is incomplete, intended for Colston. A lot of traffic down there. Amongst them, middle linebacker London Fletcher. And so the Saints will have to settle for 3 and will not come away with 7.
You got to be pretty impressed with this Redskins pass defense. And I heard a lot of people saying it going into the game, that, well, they hadn't faced a team like the New Orleans Saints. But tell you what, those guys get around the football.
27-yard attempt. Garrett Hartley, left hash mark, to cut the lead to 7. Snap, placement, kick on its way, and good. Garrett Hartley hits from 27. He's hit from 28, and he is hit from 34. 6:52 remaining in regulation. It is now the Redskins 30 and the Saints 23.
Today's game was delivered by the Satellite Center, the official transmission provider to the Saints Radio Network. Call the Satellite Center at 504-888-DISH to broadcast your sports network.
Saints go 69 yards in 12 plays and 5:59. Denied the touchdown. Settle for the field goal. 27 yards by Garrett Hartley, who's hit from 27, 28, and 34. 6:52 remaining. Saints trail by 7, 30-23.
Well, I guess I'll say it one more time. The defense needs to do something right here. They need to force somehow or another a 3 and out. This is not a situation with 6 minutes and 52 seconds on the clock where, if you're sitting in home listening, it's not a situation for the Saints to go for an onside kick. You got plenty of time, but your defense has got to step up right here. And the way that the Redskins, with that little dump-off pass that they've been so successful with, they just keep the clock churning, and therefore the Saints are going to have to find a way to get them off the field.
Thomas and Mason back deep, awaiting the kickoff by Morstead. This will be Thomas from the 2. Straight ahead 10, 15, 20. Bottled up there. He changes direction, looks for a block, and can turn the corner. Does to the 30, up to the 35, to the 40, where Roman Harper brings him down. And again, that's the slick part of the field, so he kind of lost his footing, enabling Harper to bring him down, but a very nice return by the Redskins.
Well, that young man, I'm not going to say it's been a career day because I don't know all his stats, but he's got, a couple of touchdowns. He's had some good returns, and, Saints had him bottled up over there on their sidelines and just kind of let their guard down and let him reverse field and then come out with a really good gain, and it puts the Redskins on a short field.
They start from their 41, 1st and 10 with 6:41 to play. They lead by 7, 30-23. Here's Campbell, play action, rolling to his right, has room, throws, and the catch is made around the 39, make it the 41-yard line of the Saints by the fullback Mike Sellers, his 13th catch of the season. First time he's been targeted today. Roman Harper brings him down. That's a 16-yard gain.
Well, you know, I mean, it's getting a little bit aggravating to watch Jason Campbell just get out there and pick us apart. Credit that young man for having a good game, a good game plan. But, I mean, the Saints they're not able to rattle him at all.
1st and 10 from the Saint 43. Ganther gets the call, and he bangs off Troy Evans. Gets it down to around the 36-yard line. Redskins still running hard. And that's a gain by Ganther of 7 yards, and it'll bring up 2nd and 3 at the Saint 36.
I mean, the Redskins got everything to gain and nothing to lose in this ball game. So, I mean, they can let it all hang out. I mean, they're sitting there right now. I mean, things are going to perfection the way that, little rollout pass on one or running play on the next. They don't have to worry about how much time they use up. Just use up as much as they can.
2nd and 3. Sellers goes in motion. Is the fullback for Ganther. Throw it to the right side. Catch is made. And taking it down the sideline is Malcolm Kelly for first down.
And now you're down there in field goal range. I mean, all they've got to do is just keep the ball right there in the middle of the field. You get your field goal and get your 10-point cushion back.
Ball is spotted at the Saint 29-yard line. So much for a stop so far, and the clock shows less than 5 minutes to play, and it is running. 1st and 10 for the Redskins at the Saints' 29-yard line. 4:40 remaining. Redskins up 30-23. 2 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. Empty backfield for Campbell, and now he moves Ganther behind him. Throws again out into the flat. And the catch is made by Thomas. Flag has been thrown. Probably is. Chris McAllister brought him down, but apparently by the face mask as 3 flags were thrown.
Personal foul. Face mask. Number 29 defense. 15-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
Well, all the good things that happened for Chris McAllister and Mike McKenzie, apparently, at least for the time being, were going to happen in their debut Monday night against the Patriots. Each has not enjoyed the best of afternoons here today.
Well, once again, I mean, the Redskins they've marched all the way down the field. I mean, they start out with a good return, a penalty here. I mean, just some well-timed pass routes, everything else. I mean, they're sitting in the catbird seat once again. I mean, they're not worried about this thing going in overtime now.
1st and 10 at the Saints 16. One back, Ganther. He gets the call left side. Charles Grant's on his back after a very short game.
I mean, the only chance you got right now if you're the Saints is you got to hope for some kind of turnover.
A 30-second timeout.
Saints will take their 2nd timeout. A 30-second timeout with 4:13 remaining.
And let's go right down to Christian Garrick with a River Parish Disposal Saints Sideline Report.
Hokie, you mentioned earlier about the intensity level. You saw it during the Miami game when they were in a similar spot where they were down late in the ball game. But it's really not a whole lot of emotion down here. A lot of them are sitting on a bench, or a couple of them are just standing up. Some of them shaking their head at watching what's going on.
Well, the only good news right now for the Saints is that this is a final. Philadelphia beats Atlanta 34-7, so the Saints have clinched the NFC South. The only problem is with this loss today, they have also lost their home field advantage.
Pending what happens tonight.
Again, everybody, you say everything, all things being equal, and assuming that both the Saints and the Vikings will finish at 15-1. I mean, there's a lot of things that can happen between now and the end of the season, but at least the Saints know that right now they are in the playoffs.
2nd and 8 from the Saint 14. Ganther, the lone setback. Receivers left and right for Jason Campbell, who's had a great afternoon. Handoff Ganther, left side, running hard all the way down to around the 5-yard line. Going to be close to the first down, as it would appear.
Well, I mean, you look at the energy level over here on the Redskins bench and those guys out there in the field. The Saints players right now, look, to win 11 games in a row in the NFL, that's a difficult thing to do. And, I mean, congratulations to the Saints, but, I mean, you could just kind of feel it right now. The chances of the Redskins having a turnover or something at this stage of the game is very minimal because these guys are just feeling it too much. They're in front of their home crowd. Nobody's left this game, and they want these fans to savor it and enjoy it.
3rd and 1 from the 7. Handoff Ganther, left side, first down. Inside the 5, it'll be 1st and goal for Washington. Fans on their feet. And barring a dramatic turn of events, they will have salvaged some pride in this season with the opportunity to remain a 500 football team should they win out. But they'll settle for this at the moment. The team that knocked the New Orleans Saints from the unbeaten ranks, it would appear, with 3 minutes in the clock running. 1st and goal from the 4-yard line. Rock Cartwright is the tailback. He gets the call. Right side, Cartwright ridden down. He was taken down by the linebacker, Troy Evans. We'll see where they unstack him. As a timeout is called, the football rests at the 3-yard line where it will be 2nd and goal. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification on the New Orleans Saints radio network. Saints out of timeouts with 2:46 to play.
All right, we'll get to that scoreboard, and this NFL scoreboard is brought to you by SouthCoastSolar.com. Dependable, renewable energy. This is a final. Chicago beats St. Louis 17-9. It's New England 21, Miami 19. Philadelphia beat Atlanta 34-7. The Falcons scored on the final play of the game. The Colts lead Tennessee 27-17. It's Pittsburgh 24, Oakland 20. Denver all over Kansas City 44-13. And finish up those scores after this play.
2nd and goal from the 3-yard line of the Saints. Backs in an eye. Tailback is Cartwright. Campbell hands it off to Cartwright. Left side, nothing there. Will Smith and company bringing him down. And the clock continues to run and shows 2:35 remaining.
All right, finishing up those scores. Carolina leads Tampa Bay 16-6. This is a final. Jacksonville beats Houston 23-18, and also a final. It's Cincinnati 23, Detroit 13, and that's scores of the other games in progress. Brought to you by SouthCoastSolar.com.
Washington with 413 yards of total offense. First time they've gone over 400 this season. Loss on the play back to the 5. It's 3rd and goal from that 5-yard line. Cartwright right side. Cartwright cuts it back. Vilma has him, along with Remy Adel.
That is a 2-minute warning.
1:56 remaining.
Alrighty, and at the 2-minute warning, here's your warning from the Louisiana Partners for Highway Safety, reminding everybody, buckle up.
4th and goal from the 4 when we return. 1:56 to play. Redskins up 30-23. This is the New Orleans Saints radio network.
Get ready for a huge blowout yard sale on quality used Caterpillar equipment at Louisiana Rents in Baton Rouge. We're putting equipment out at the lowest price possible. So be sure to stop in at Louisiana Rents, 10414 Airline Highway, between 1 and 3.
at peopleshelp.com.
Well, there were no, there were no coaches challenges this half, but if there was, it would have been brought to you by First Bank and Trust, official bank of the Saints. First Bank and Trust challenges you to see business made personal in Biloxi. Go see Market Area President Eddie Appel at 244 Eisenhower Drive.
Sean Sweetsham comes on with the opportunity to nail this thing down. 4th and goal from the 4. They will bring on Sweetsham to attempt what appears to be a 22-yard field goal. Right hash mark. Snap, placement, kick is up, and it is
no good.
No good. Boy, the Saints had some great penetration. Don't know if that was tipped or not. Chris Reese got in there, and the Saints still have life. Still have life, trailing by 7.
Well, they have no timeouts, but I mean, they used them wisely on that last possession. And right there, I don't think it did get tipped, Jim. I think Sweetsham just pushed it off to the right. It came up, and it kind of looked like a fading 3-iron. Just got up there to the right and started tailing off to the right. So Saints get the ball at the 20-yard line. Minute and 52 seconds left. So what we were sitting here saying, is a done deal. Again, you're going to have to be smart. Drew Brees throws you the ball. You got to find a way to get the ball out of bounds.
1st and 10, New Orleans 20. Is there still some life in this unbeaten football team that has already clinched the NFC South? Here's Brees. Going to have to dump it off underneath the Pierre Thomas up to around the 22-yard line. 1:44 in the clock running. Brees hasn't had a lot of time to look downfield today, and there is a Redskin shaken up. And holding his ankle, that's Albert Hainsworth.
An injury inside 2 minutes requires that team be charged with a timeout. First charge timeout, Washington.
Well, you see right there, we saw it on the replay. It wasn't like anybody rolled up on Hainsworth's ankle. It might have been Carl Nix that just kind of gave him a punch into the chest like you do when you pass protecting. And as he went back, he kind of just, I don't know, it might be his Achilles tendon or something because he just went down in a heap.
He has been inactive for the last 2 weeks with a left ankle injury. Maybe that has flared up once more. He's been under a lot of pressure here because of the money that he's gotten as a free agent and his lack of productivity. $41 million guaranteed him under the contract that brought him here as an unrestricted free agent from the Tennessee Titans. He had promised everybody that he would play this week despite that ankle problem. Maybe that has flared up once more, but he's
Please put the play clock to 25 seconds. Thank you.
Well, Sean Sweetsham on the Redskin bench is very anxious about these final 1 minute and 41 seconds still to play, because it was he who shanked a 23-yard field goal wide right, what would have probably put this game away and given the Redskins a 10-point lead with less than 2 minutes to play. Instead, the Saints now have the opportunity to talk things over as the Redskins have to have Hainsworth attended to, and he hasn't gotten up yet.
No, when he went down, again, as I said, Carl Nix just kind of gave him a punch right in the chest. Exactly what you're asking your offensive lineman to do. I'm passing down, and Hainsworth kind of stumbled back a little bit, and the first thing he grabbed was the back of his left ankle. Let's go down to Christian Garrett.
Yeah, that's exactly where they're looking at, Hokie, his left ankle and almost like in the shin area as well. So he's on his feet now on his own power.
He's going to limp to the sideline. He's a hulking man at 6'6" and 350. But the Saints have now had an opportunity to have a timeout at the Redskins' expense and think about what they want to do here in the final 1:43 with no timeouts left and trailing the Redskins by 7, 30-23.
Well, I mean, that's a benefit from the Saints to a certain degree. Hainsworth has kind of been collapsing the inside of that pocket today. I mean, I don't know that he's got a sack, but, he's definitely a guy to be reckoned with in there. But I know this, the Saints are not going to march the ball down the field running check down routes.
No, they aren't. They got to look downfield, and Brees will have that opportunity here on 2nd and 6 from the 24-yard line of New Orleans. Brees has been sacked once today. That by LaRon Landry, the only sack of this game for either team. 2nd and 6, Saints from their 24. Breeze out of the shotgun. 3 to the right, 1 to the left. Breeze with some time. Throws to the near sideline. Coming back, Henderson makes the catch. Pushed out of bounds in front of the Redskin bench. Stopping the clock. Spotted around the 35-yard line. Our view obstructed here to tell you exactly where it is until they tell us on the scoreboard, and they do say at the 35-yard line, 1st and 10. Saints will hurry things up. 1:37 to play. Breeze again throws over the middle. It's thrown low and incomplete, intended for Marcus Colston. Maron Landry's had himself a day. He's around the football again and clapping his hands in appreciation of his own efforts and that of his teammates. The incompletion stopping the clock with 1:32 to play. Saints trailing 30-23.
Well, you know, Jim, this may sound crazy, but that might be a better option right there, the incompletion in the middle of the field, because if Colston does catch that, I mean, the clock's going to be running.
2nd and 10, Saint 35. Breeze out of the shotgun. Throws far sideline, coming back. Meacham with the catch, out of bounds in front of the Saint bench. That stops the clock with 1:27 to play. Gives the Saints a first down. They'll bring the football in from the boundary and spot it at the 46, make it the 47-yard line of New Orleans with 1:27 to play. Breeze out of the shotgun. Looks again, steps up, throws deep down the middle. Oh no! Meacham in stride, down to the 5, into the end zone. Touchdown, Robert Meacham. What a day he has had. Drew Brees on a 53-yard strike, and this team has come back from the dead.
I've never seen anything like it in my life. Figured, you know, the ball game's over, and you're sitting there, and Drew Brees takes a shot right down the middle of the field on just a simple fly pattern by Robert Meacham, hits him in stride, and this great defensive effort that the Redskins have put up today, especially their pass defense, I mean, just went sour in a hurry. And with that touchdown pass, the Breeze Dream Foundation was energized by South Coast Solar with another $150 donation. South Coast Solar, dependable renewable energy, southcoastsolar.com.
Garrett Hartley's extra point ties things up with 1:19 to play. The Saints have surged back into a 30-30 tie. The Redskins with 2 timeouts remaining.
2 timeouts remaining. And look, let's not forget now, the Saints are going to be kicking the ball into that direction where the ball, whether it's punts or kickoffs, has not been sailing very good. Ball gets up there and it kind of dies. And again, all the Redskins have to do is get themselves in position for a field goal. And with 2 timeouts remaining, they got a lot of different options at them. They probably have to take a couple more shots downfield than they have taken. But the point is, the Saints defense now is when they've got to come up with something just to keep the Redskins out of field goal range.
The Saints go 80 yards in 5 plays in 33 seconds. A 53-yard strike, a beautifully thrown ball. Drew Brees to Robert Meacham in stride, and Meacham, the hero of the day at the moment for the Saints.
I would have never believed it. I'm talking about 5 minutes ago. I mean, I'm talking about just running time 5 minutes ago. I'm not talking about the game time, but you just look what happened. A missed field goal that was in chip shot range right there for Sweesom, and he pushed it to the right, and the Saints did everything they needed to do. And then, boy, you talked about it earlier about finishing ball games.
They haven't been able to do it yet. Here's Morstead's kickoff. This will be one of the heroes of the day for the Redskins, Thomas from the 6, up to the 20, and he's brought down as he crosses his 25-yard line. 1:13 remaining.
And let's go right down to Christian Garrett for a River Parish Disposal Saints sideline report.
And all of a sudden, a lot of life on this Saints bench, patting each other on the helmet, recognizing what they just done. I mean, they've got a lot of energy compared to, 45 seconds ago, I reported there wasn't a whole lot of life.
Well, let's just see if that defense can come to life, because that's something that they have not done today. They just have not been able to make that killer stop against the Redskins.
How cautious will the Redskins be here as they start from their own 25-yard line? They'll open in the shotgun. Campbell going to throw a short pass, dump off to Cartwright. Rock Cartwright tackled from behind at the 40-yard line by Cedric Ellis. First down for the Redskins. 1 minute remaining in the clock running. Spot the football at the Redskin 39-yard line, 1st and 10. We're tied at 30 in the final minute of regulation. Campbell out of the shotgun. Here comes Smith on it. He throws over the middle, and a reception is made up at the 45-yard line.
There's a flag on the far side of the field, Jim.
Fred Davis makes the reception. I think Smith thinks he was held.
Holding, number 76,
Wow.
offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
That is Levi Jones, the left tackle, who'd been getting a lot of help today on
Please
Will
reset the game
Smith,
clock to 4.
but he didn't get enough help there as he's caught holding.
And I think that's only the second penalty of the day for the Redskins. And, I mean, they came at a huge time right there because, you know, they're still a long way from field goal range, but that dropped them back another 10.
Ball rests at the Redskin 29-yard line. 1st and 20. 43 seconds left. Redskins and Saints tied at 30. Campbell out of the shotgun. Calls for the football. Has time. Throws over the middle. Cartwright. Prelo chases him. Brings him down at the 40. And
dadgummit.
He brings him down on a horse collar tackle. And draws the flag. Pearson Prelo, who played here for the Redskins
Personal
at one
foul,
point.
face mask, number 31, defense, 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Well, it wasn't the face mask. I mean, he got it wrong. It was a horse collar tackle, but that's the 15-yard variety, and that's a killer right there.
Because it brings up 1st and 10 for the Redskins from the Saint 45. 35 seconds remaining. The Redskins still have 2 timeouts. Campbell from the shotgun once more. Saints coming off the corner. Campbell steps up. Oh, yeah, and it's intercepted by Vilma. He's coming up the sideline. He stepped out of bounds. This is going to be the Saints ball, but Jonathan Vilma steps in front of the intended receiver and picks it off right in front of the Redskin bench. The Saints still have a shot with 28 seconds remaining in a 30-30 football game.
And, you know, if Jonathan Vilma would have just been able to keep his balance going down, he's going to score with that because there was nobody back there for the Redskins that was in position to make the tackle. But the Saints, with 28 seconds, they get a couple of things going here, get themselves in the field goal range.
They'll spot the football at the New Orleans 46 with 28 seconds left. Tie ball game at 30-all. The Saints out of timeouts. But Jonathan Vilma comes through with his second interception of the day. The intended receiver was the tight end Fred Davis. Do the Saints have any more magic left, or will we head to overtime? Breeze out of the shotgun. Redskins bring 4. And he throws over the middle and behind. Jim Henderson incomplete. Flag is thrown back around the area
Holding,
where Jerron Bushrod was trying to protect Drew Brees.
Repeat first down.
And Bushrod is caught holding.
Well, with 24 seconds left on the clock, Jim, no timeouts, anything like that, I would kind of look for the Saints just to play it safe right here. Let's get this thing into overtime because if you make a mistake where the ball is on the field right now, you could be looking at the Redskins just sending their field goal unit out. So
1st and 20 from the Saint 36-yard line, 24 seconds remaining. Tie ball game. Breeze from the shotgun. Retreats, throws over the middle. Meacham, it might have been tipped, and it's incomplete. Might have been tipped by Reed Doughty, the strong safety who dropped off in coverage. Clock is stopped with 18 seconds remaining in regulation.
Well, that made me nervous the way he threw that in the middle because it wasn't like Drew really had his feet set. All that he was kind of drifting to his left a little bit. Really didn't get a whole lot of steam behind that ball.
And wouldn't it be amazing if Garrett Hartley in his first game back as a Saint gets the opportunity to eventually win this thing in overtime? We've still got a ways to go before we reach that juncture, but it is now 2nd and 20 from his 36. Breeze throws far sideline. Meacham makes the catch, goes out of bounds in front of the Saint bench. Clock is stopped with 12 seconds left. They will spot the football at the Redskin 49.
Well, so much from I thought about playing it safe. I mean, Sean Payton wants to end this thing in regulation, it seems like. And, you know, I mean, all you got to get is where is the ball sitting at right now? Is
49-yard line of the Redskins.
Yeah, it's just beyond midfield. So, you know, Garrett Hartley's got a good leg.
Is under review.
Well, in the final 2 minutes, they're going to look at this thing up here, and that's just to the left of us. No more than 2 feet away through this glass partition. as Garrett Hartley gets a chance to continue to warm up on the Saints sideline should this play stand. And the Saints come up with one more completion at the sideline because they are out of timeouts. He might get a chance to be the hero of this game.
Well, I got the shakes right now, and it's not because it's getting colder. I've got the heebie-jeebies.
What an incredible game this has been, one that the Saints have never led. So they're going to continue to look at this. On the far sideline, the catch was made by Robert Meacham. And the question is, was he inbounds or not when he made the reception?
Well, he makes the catch right there. Did he drag that right toe? His right foot definitely goes out of bounds, but did he stamp his toe to get both feet in bounds? There you see the catch. Left foot comes down. Oh, he drug his right foot. He's good. He's fine.
He drug it?
I think that's what they called it. What am I supposed to say? Dragged?
Exactly.
No, in Baker, it's drugged. You drug your left foot.
Well, you're thinking it's a catch?
Yes.
Having seen it on replay?
The receiver had good possession of the ball. First foot down, dragged the second foot. The ruling on the field is confirmed.
Well, whether he dragged it or whether he drug it, it's a good catch. Wow. And so we've got 12 seconds remaining as the Saints seek their 12th straight
18
win.
seconds.
You look it up in Wikipedia. It's in there.
And the clock gets reset to 18 seconds, so the Saints pick up an additional 6 seconds with which to work. Man, oh man, it's been a magical season. The Saints with some wistful smiles on the sideline, thinking maybe this is the season of Kismet. Maybe this is the season when everything breaks right for this star-crossed football team. Albert Hainsworth, by the way, is back in the lineup at defensive tackle for the Redskins. Well, they now show 12 seconds on the clock here. It should be 18. Here's Breeze looking to throw. Does to the sideline. Reggie Bush makes the catch. He scampers out of bounds at the Redskin 40. And the clock shows 7 seconds remaining.
It's going to be a long kick for Hartley right here. And again, you're going in that same direction that the ball just has not been carrying very well.
I was confused as to whether they said game clock or play clock. They put 6 seconds back on the play clock, not the game clock. So there are 7 seconds remaining, and this will be a 57-yard field goal attempt by Garrett Hartley with 7 seconds left, and the Redskins call timeout, looking to ice the Saints' second-year kicker.
And let's go right down to Christian Garrick with a River Parish Disposal Saints sideline report. Christian.
Okay, talking to Garrett Hartley, he knew he was going to be active today. Talking to him before the game, he told me he feels comfortable 60 and in, even in this weather with the cold footballs. He told me his leg strength is where it was prior to the 4-game suspension and where it was last year. So we're about to find out just how strong it is.
Well, you know one thing, I mean, at this distance, he's not going to be able, he's going to have to line drive it because you're going to have to get as much distance out of it as you possibly can. So, I don't know, the Saints are actually coming back out on the field with their offense. So, I guess Sean Payton said, I don't think that's good enough. Maybe he thinks with 7 seconds, he can either get it into the end zone or possibly get it a little bit closer.
Well, again, no timeouts with which to work. 7 seconds. He could throw something quick to the sideline and maybe make this a bit shorter attempt. This is first down. Reggie Bush is in the lineup behind Drew Brees. Brees rolls to his right, throws, ball is tipped and incomplete. Intended for Robert Meacham. And that puts 3 seconds on the clock, so the play took 4 seconds, gets them no closer for Garrett Hartley. Well, you know one thing, if this were John Carney who was still the kicker, you probably wouldn't even go for it.
You do the heave-ho into the end zone.
Mm-hmm. Well,
let's see what Mr. Hartley's got in that right leg.
Kyle will snap it. Brunell will put it down. And Garrett Hartley will attempt a 57-yard field goal on the final play of this game. Steps into it, and it is not going to get there. This is an opportunity to be returned. This is Fred Smoot trying to return this missed field goal. and he's going to be taken down by Jermon Bushrod at the 15-yard line on the final play of regulation.
That's the end of regulation.
So get ready for some lanyap. We're going to get some more football as the Saints have battled their way back into overtime, tied with the Redskins at 30. And what a great comeback this has been by the Saints. We'll try to recap.
Done today. They just have not been able to make that killer stop against the Redskins.
How cautious will the Redskins be here as they start from their own 25-yard line? They'll open in the shotgun. Cam
right there for Sweesham, and he pushed it to the right, and the Saints did everything they needed to do. And boy, you talked about it earlier about finishing ball games.
They haven't been able to do it yet. Here's Morstead's kickoff. This will be one of the heroes of the day for the Redskins. Thomas from the 6 up to the 20, and he's brought down as he crosses his 25-yard line. 1:13 remaining.
And let's go right down to Christian Garrett for a River Parish Disposal Saints sideline report.
And all of a sudden, a lot of life on this Saints bench, patting each other on the helmet, recognizing what they just done. I mean, they've got a lot of energy compared to, 45 seconds ago, I reported there wasn't a whole lot of life.
Well, let's just see if that defense can come to life, because that's something that they have not done today. They just have not been able to make that killer stop against the Redskins.
How cautious will the Redskins be here as they start from their own 25-yard line? They'll open in the shotgun. Campbell going to throw a short pass, dump off to Cartwright. Rock Cartwright tackled from behind at the 40-yard line by Cedric Ellis. First down for the Redskins. 1 minute remaining in the clock running. Spot the football at the Redskin 39-yard line, 1st and 10. We're tied at 30 in the final minute of regulation. Campbell out of the shotgun. Here comes Smith on it. He throws over the middle, and a reception is made up at the 45-yard line.
There's a flag on the far side of the field, Jim.
Fred Davis makes the reception. I think Smith thinks he was held.
Holding, number 76, offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
That is Levi Jones, the left tackle, who'd been getting a lot of help today on Will Smith, but he didn't get enough help there as he's caught holding.
And I think that's only the second penalty of the day for the Redskins. And, I mean, it came at a huge time right there because, they're still a long way from field goal range, but that dropped them back another 10.
Ball rests at the Redskin 29-yard line, 1st and 20, 43 seconds left. Redskin Breeze out of the shotgun. Redskins bring 4. And he throws over the middle and behind. Avery Henderson incomplete. Flag is thrown back around the area
Holding,
where Jermon Bushrod was trying to protect Drew Breeze.
Repeat first down.
And Bushrod is caught holding.
Well, with 24 seconds left on the clock, Jim, no timeouts, anything like that, I would kind of look for the Saints just to play it safe right here. Let's get this thing into overtime, because if you make a mistake where the ball is on the field right now, you could be looking at the Redskins just sending their field goal unit out. So
1st and 20 from the Saint 36-yard line, 24 seconds remaining. Tie ball game. Breeze from the shotgun. Retreats, throws over the middle. Meacham, it might have been tipped, and it's incomplete. Might have been tipped by Reed Doughty, the strong safety who dropped off in coverage. Clock is stopped with 18 seconds remaining in regulation.
Boy, that made me nervous the way he threw that in the middle, because it wasn't like Drew really had his feet set. All that he was kind of drifting to his left a little bit. Really didn't get a whole lot of steam behind that ball.
And wouldn't it be amazing if Garrett Hartley, in his first game back as a Saint, gets the opportunity to eventually win this thing in overtime? We've still got a ways to go before we reach that juncture, but it is now 2nd and 20 from his 36. Breeze throws far sideline. Meacham makes the catch, goes out of bounds in front of the Saint bench. Clock is stopped with 12 seconds left. They will spot the football at the Redskin 49.
Well, so much when I thought about playing it safe. I mean, Sean Payton wants to end this thing in regulation, it seems like. And, all you got to get is where is the ball sitting at right now? Is
49-yard line of the Redskins.
Yeah, it's just beyond midfield. So, Garrett Hartley's got a good leg.
Is under review.
Well, in the final 2 minutes, they're going to look at this thing up here, and that's just to the left of us, no more than 2 feet away through this glass partition, as Garrett Hartley gets a chance to continue to warm up on the Saints sideline should this play stand, and the Saints come up with one more completion at the sideline because they are out of timeouts. He might get a chance to be the hero of this game.
Well, I got the shakes right now, and it's not because it's getting colder. I've got the heebie-jeebies.
What an incredible game this has been, one that the Saints have never led. So they're going to continue to look at this. On the far sideline, the catch was made by Robert. Well, you're thinking it's a catch?
Yes.
Having seen it on replay?
The receiver had good possession of the ball. First foot down, dragged the second foot. The ruling on the field is confirmed.
Well, whether he dragged it or whether he drug it, it's a good catch. Wow. And so we've got 12 seconds remaining as the Saints seek their 12th straight
18
win.
seconds.
You look it up in Wikipedia. It's in there.
And the clock gets reset to 18 seconds, so the Saints pick up an additional 6 seconds with which to work. Man, oh man, it's been a magical season. The Saints with some wistful smiles on the sideline, thinking maybe this is the season of Kismet. Maybe this is the season when everything breaks right for this star-crossed football team. Albert Hainsworth, by the way, is back in the lineup at defensive tackle for the Redskins. Well, they now show 12 seconds on the clock here. It should be 18. Here's Breeze looking to throw. Does to the sideline. Reggie Bush makes the catch. He scampers out of bounds at the Redskin 40. And the clock shows 7 seconds remaining.
It's going to be a long kick for Hartley right here. And again, you're going in that same direction that the ball just has not been carrying very well.
I was confused as to whether they said game clock or play clock. They put 6 seconds back on the play clock, not the game clock. So there are 7 seconds remaining, and this will be a 57-yard field goal attempt by Garrett Hartley with 7 seconds left, and the Redskins call timeout, looking to ice the Saints' second-year kicker.
And let's go right down to Christian Garrick with a River Parish Disposal Saints sideline report. Christian.
Okay, talking to Garrett Hartley, he knew he was going to be active today. Talking to him before the game, he told me he feels comfortable 60 and in, even in this weather with the cold footballs. He told me his leg strength is where it was prior to the 4-game suspension and where it was last year. So we're about to find out just how strong it is.
Well, you know one thing, I mean, at this distance, he's not going to be able, he's going to have to line drive it because you're going to have to get as much distance out of it as you possibly can. So, I don't know, the Saints are actually coming back out on the field with their offense. So, I guess Sean Payton said, I don't think that's good enough. Maybe he thinks with 7 seconds he can either get it into the end zone or possibly get it a little bit closer.
Well, again, no timeouts with which to work. 7 seconds. He could throw something quick to the sideline and maybe make this a bit shorter attempt. This is first down. Reggie Bush is in the lineup behind Drew Brees. Brees rolls to his right, throws, ball is tipped and incomplete. Intended for Robert Meacham. And that puts 3 seconds on the clock, so the play took 4 seconds, gets them no closer for Garrett Hartley. Well, you know one thing, if this were John Carney who was still the kicker, you probably wouldn't even go for it.
You do the heave-ho into the end zone.
Mm-hmm. Well,
let's see what Mr. Hartley's got in that right leg.
Kyle will snap it. Brunell will put it down. And Garrett Hartley will attempt a 57-yard field goal on the final play of this game. Steps into it, and it is not going to get there. This is an opportunity to be returned. This is Fred Smoot trying to return this missed field goal, and he's going to be taken down by Jermon Bushrod at the 15-yard line on the final play of regulation.
That's the end of regulation.
So get ready for some lanyap. We're going to get some more football as the Saints have battled their way back into overtime, tied with the Redskins at 30. And what a great comeback this has been by the Saints. We'll try. Well, they now show 12 seconds on the clock here. It should be 18. Here's Breeze looking to throw. Does to the sideline. Reggie Bush makes the catch. He scampers out of bounds at the Redskin 40. And the clock shows 7 seconds remaining.
It's going to be a long kick for Hartley right here. And again, you're going in that same direction that the ball just has not been carrying very well.
I was confused as to whether they said game clock or play clock. They put 6 seconds back on the play clock, not the game clock. So there are 7 seconds remaining, and this will be a 57-yard field goal attempt by Garrett Hartley with 7 seconds left, and the Redskins call timeout, looking to ice the Saints' second-year kicker.
And let's go right down to Christian Garrick with a River Parish Disposal Saints sideline report. Christian.
Okay, talking to Garrett Hartley, he knew he was going to be active today. Talking to him before the game, he told me he feels comfortable 60 and in, even in this weather with the cold footballs. He told me his leg strength is where it was prior to the 4-game suspension and where it was last year. So we're about to find out just how strong it is.
Well, you know one thing, I mean, at this distance, he's not going to be able, he's going to have to line drive it because you're going to have to get as much distance out of it as you possibly can. So, I don't know, the Saints are actually coming back out on the field with their offense. So, I guess Sean Payton said, I don't think that's good enough. Maybe he thinks with 7 seconds he can either get it into the end zone or possibly get it a little bit closer.
Well, again, no timeouts with which to work. 7 seconds. He could throw something quick to the sideline and maybe make this a bit shorter attempt. This is first down. Reggie Bush is in the lineup behind Drew Brees. Brees rolls to his right, throws, ball is tipped and incomplete. Intended for Robert Meacham. And that puts 3 seconds on the clock, so the play took 4 seconds, gets them no closer for Garrett Hartley. Well, you know one thing, if this were John Carney who was still the kicker, you probably wouldn't even go for it.
You do the heave-ho into the end zone.
Mm-hmm. Well,
let's see what Mr. Hartley's got in that right leg.
Kyle will snap it. Brunell will put it down. And Garrett Hartley will attempt a 57-yard field goal on the final play of this game. Steps into it, and it is not going to get there. This is an opportunity to be returned. This is Fred Smoot trying to return this missed field goal, and he's going to be taken down by Jermon Bushrod at the 15-yard line on the final play of regulation.
At the end of regulation.
So get ready for some lanyap. We're going to get some more football as the Saints have battled their way back into overtime, tied with the Redskins at 30.
He's diced him.
Our guy wouldn't be in this predicament if he had made that field goal, that's for sure. But.
And we'd be out of here.
Hartley's 3 for 3 today, but not one from this distance.
Well, it's not the first one Sweezum's missed here. He missed before. It's been a great game anyway.
It's not over.
I know it isn't. I'd say it has been. I didn't say it's not going to be.
He's got a very strong leg, but he's never attempted anything from 50 yards or beyond. His career high is 47. Now, wait a minute. They're going to change it here. They're not going to kick a field goal.
They're going to try and get another short pass out of bounds.
Yep,
they're going to try to get another short pass out of bounds. Who did he ice? The quarterback or the coach?
Good call. Reggie Bush is the running back.
Pick it off.
Breeze under center. Back to pass. Fires. It's deflected. And it's incomplete. 3 seconds to go. So they'll try the long-distance field goal with Hartley this time with 3 seconds on the clock.
That was a big yardage right there.
Maybe they iced themselves, too.
No, I think they had the right call. They got to get out of bounds to stop the clock.
But they didn't.
Well, I know he didn't. He ran to the right, and the ball got batted.
So you give the kicker more time to think about this long kick.
Guess who that was? That was Andre Carter on the left side.
58-yard attempt. Hartley from 58 yards for the ball game. 3 seconds on the clock. Long way off. Kick is on the way.
Short.
And it's not going to come there.
He can run it out.
By Fred Smoot in the end zone. Running it out. Heads off to his left. A lot of defenders there, and it's taken down at the 14-yard line, and we're headed for overtime.
Right. Fred Smoot used a little clock, didn't he?
Woo!
No.
Take a breath.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, Sonny, in the first half, you said this game was flying by, and right now it is 4:30.
Hey, these
Other
kickers,
games are over.
Hey, these kickers have made it interesting, haven't they?
They sure have. I mean, the flip of the coin here is going to be the biggest thing we'll see all day, because if you give Drew Brees the football, the Redskins are going to have to do something here defensively if that happens.
You know, one of the great kickers of all time, the coach made a mistake and kicked it on third down. It was 50-some yards in New York. Summerall, he had another down to go, and Summerall didn't realize. He said, "We got another down."
Here's the moment of truth. Let's go listen to the flip of the coin.
Gentlemen, we are about to begin an overtime period of up to 15 minutes. The first team that scores wins. If neither team scores, the game will end in a tie. Fourth quarter timing rules are in effect. Each team gets 2 timeouts, and all of the replays will be generated by the replay coordinator. New Orleans calls the toss. They call tails. It is heads. Washington has won the toss. We'll take the ball.
So the Redskins get the lucky toss of the coin. They'll receive. We'll see what the Redskins offense can do.
Got a long way to go, don't they?
Well, they had that interception in the last possession where they were knocking on the door of field goal range, and here they win the toss. They'll receive the kickoff in overtime.
How about that short field goal that our guy missed? Short one.
Yeah, that was a big one. Let's go to Frank for a look at the NFL scoreboard.
All right, these are all finals that are in Miami. Upsets New England 22-21. How about the Raiders upsetting Pittsburgh 27-24? Denver takes care of Kansas City 44-13. Jacksonville over Houston 23-18. The Colts remain undefeated 12-0, beating Tennessee 27-17. Cincinnati improves to 9-3 with a 23-13 victory over Detroit. Bears beat St. Louis 17-9. It was Carolina 16, Tampa Bay 6. Eagles improved to 8-4 with a 34-7 victory over Atlanta. Games in progress. Cleveland leads San Diego 7-3. That's late in the first quarter. Seattle, San Francisco scoreless midway through the first. Dallas and the Giants, 5:21 left first quarter, no score there. Later, Sunday nighter, it's Minnesota at Arizona. And Monday nighter, it's Baltimore at Green Bay. Larry?
All right, Devin Thomas and Marcus Mason deep to receive the kickoff from Hartley as we're headed into overtime for the first time this year.
Well, and it's interesting. The Redskins have scored 30 points and still haven't won this game. That's
his
unusual.
team average is 36.
Unbelievable, isn't it? Yeah.
This return here would be big from Devin Thomas.
Yes, it would.
How about that? Yeah. Well, I'm afraid it might. You know, you got to try to get as much touchdowns as you can because our kicker's now iced himself, probably.
He wants another shot.
He's had a great day so far. Devin has. Wouldn't it be nice to cap it off with running it back?
Yeah. Run it back all the way.
Run it back.
Yeah, we all would like that.
Send everybody home happy.
And we got to remember, guys, the last play we had offensively, we were picked.
Yeah, it was not a good pass. Morstead has it teed up. Devin Thomas and Marcus Mason await the kickoff to start overtime. 30 apiece. Strongest kick of the game.
Holy
Coming
cow.
down. Devin Thomas takes it 3 yards deep. He's going to bring it out to the 10, 15, dives ahead. He gets it to the 20-yard line where the Redskins will have it 1st and 10.
Got to play smart. Play smart and attack.
Don't forget last year these two teams met, and it was Santana Moss on the deep touchdown pass from Jason Campbell to win it in the game's final moments.
Well, maybe you ought to do that again. That's not a bad call, Larry.
I see deja vu.
Calling for those double moves. Got to have another little double move on the cornerback. Let him bite and try to get an interception, and you catch a long one.
Fred Davis heads out to the right as a wide receiver. Thomas, Kelly, and Santana all to the left. Running back is Quinton Ganther. Back to pass. Campbell fires. Moss the catch at the 30-yard line, and he's got the first down.
Woo! Almost broke that one.
Redskins now have 448 yards in total offense in this game. Boy, he almost pulled away, didn't he?
Yes, he did. He
had him by the
close.
foot there.
Didn't particularly like that pattern. You looked right and then came back and threw left.
Short drop, too. First and 10 at their own 30. Ganther, the running back. Jason gives it to Quinton. Running hard, gets hit. Pyle moves up to the 35-yard line. Gain of 5 on first down. So we're in overtime for the first time in 2009 for the Redskins. 7-point lead in the final minute, not enough against Drew Brees in New Orleans. And the missed field goal by Sweezum really looms large. The Redskins don't win.
Oh, it is large, or it was large.
High formation behind Campbell, 2nd and 5 at the 35. Moss in motion left. Campbell, play action fake. Looking right, fires, catch made by Sellers.
He fumbled too. The ground calls a fumble.
I'm going to say he was down.
Well, the ground, he went down.
Be a yard and a half short of the first down.
Well, he took a tumble.
He got hit.
He got hit. He got hurt too.
So 3rd and 1, Redskins need to keep possession of this football. It's a long one, almost 2 yards.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Got in Quinton. Yeah. Quinton's a man.
Quinton's a man. Okay.
They've got Yoder in as another tight end. Ganther, the running back. Quinton Ganther in the eye behind Sellers.
Quinton.
3rd and 1. Yoder in motion right. Handoff, no. What's the call?
Timeout.
Timeout, New Orleans.
First charge, timeout.
It was kind of delayed.
A 30-second timeout.
That was unusual.
Rick Walker down on the sideline, and this the way this game is unfolded, can the Redskins regain some type of momentum here and get in the field goal range?
Well, they've got to. You just got to make a play. You got to forget the pass. It's all about right now. You still can win, but you have got to throw caution to the wind.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm not really sure we're capable of. We should have been in 4-down territory the last time we were in the red zone. You got to be you know what we got to be, and hopefully we can be. Larry?
Well, it's a long 1 yard. I'd say it's closer to 2 than 1.
You know what? Sweezum is hoping to score a touchdown so he don't have to kick it again.
Sonny, do you run this ball here? The Redskins' short yardage hasn't been outstanding. Do you throw it or do you run it here?
What are they reviewing?
They're reviewing the fumble by Sellers, apparently.
Whoa. Don't be doing
from
that.
Upstairs. Well, that he didn't catch it, possibly. Didn't have possession long enough.
Sonny, you had Davis on the corner route. He ran a great 7. But again, I just believe that into this kind of pressure, Jason's going to look for the check down first as opposed to
you're right.
deep.
See, that's what I'm saying. You have to continue to attack.
Right.
Doc.
Right. It's not his nature. I
Yeah.
mean, we're sitting right here. The kid couldn't have run a better corner route, but you got to believe in your heart that you can make that throw and that you're willing to make that throw. You got to be willing to do it. He's not willing to do it.
You know,
Jim's not willing to call it. He ain't willing to do it.
You got into that situation of playing when I used to talk with Jason about you can't be trying to please the coach. You just got to make a play.
Right.
You got to make a play. Just throw caution to the wind. You got to make those plays.
Yeah, but
if you line up behind the center throwing the football, you're going to have interceptions.
Yeah.
You're going to have negative plays. But the great quarterbacks, they have everything go against them, but they also make great plays, and that's what's happening with Drew Brees today.
As they're reviewing this call, Sellers did not hold on to the football. At least it doesn't appear he did. Who knows what they're going to call? They've missed a couple today, but I don't know who recovered the football either after he fumbled it because they whistled that he was down.
Well, he's got it
incomplete. You better get incomplete.
He's got it going down.
Got to be an incomplete.
It's incomplete pass.
It's not as New Orleans football.
No, it's incomplete pass.
But he took a step after he made the catch.
But it's incomplete.
Well, let's see what the call's going to be. The referee's still
I think I like the Redskins in the 3rd and long play instead of the 3rd yard play.
The referee is no longer looking at Carl Cheffers, the referee no longer looking under the hood of the replay.
We've seen that today. He fooled us, didn't he?
Yeah, he sure did. He was looking out at the field. He's doing it again. He's got 2 referees down there with him. What do you say, Doc?
Now, I was talking to Chris Cooley. What'd you see on it, Chris? I didn't see anything. You see it? Yeah. Now we're seeing whether or not we got a possession or not.
Cooley down there with Rick Walker.
Yeah, and good to see Cooley without crutches, too.
Yeah,
no
really
braces, no crutches.
That's good.
But this is bizarre. I mean, I'm telling you, we've been in this similar situation so many times over the past 5 or 6 years that it is deja vu, but still it's been a great competitive contest. But this is one where, man, you got to win it. You got to win it.
Replay Challenge brought to you by Cox, your friend in the digital age. They bring us the replays all season long. Call them today, 866-320-2289 to save now.
If I'm Campbell, I go over and start warming up. I mean, he's been standing out there a long time. Got to come back and make his third and if it's still a long yard.
This is way too long of a timeout. This worries me here when he's not even looking under the hood anymore to see what the play is.
I think you're having a cup of coffee.
Where's the referee?
He's down here on the right, on the left side down there, right between the cheerleaders.
Oh, he's looking at the cheerleaders?
No, he's looking at. They've
I
been
don't know,
over
but
the
this
replay.
is way too long of a conference for the referees here. What is the call, ref?
He took a quick
We
glance
couldn't
at
get
the cheerleader.
Mike
might not know.
Piero.
Mike Pereira needs to call him right now.
After review, the receiver caught the ball and fumbled prior to being down by contact. It was recovered by a member of the defense. It will be New Orleans ball at the 37-yard line. Washington will be given their timeout back.
Boy, that's a Bush call right there.
Why wouldn't they say it's incomplete?
Because it was incomplete. They want to get out of here, too.
I mean, this is already, well, he's almost within range. 2 completions, and he's within range.
One completion, he's within range.
It's according to what kind of completion it is.
Yeah.
Boy, this game will be reviewed by
The commissioner.
New York.
Yeah, by the commissioner.
Well, Stellers, I don't think he went after the football because they said he was down, and he didn't go after it after they said he was down. Right away, they said he was down. That ball didn't come out.
Ball came out.
But they whistled that he was down. He didn't go after the football. Boy, you've seen it all today.
Missed kick. Easy missed kick.
Just continue to play. You got to make a play here.
Defense can't give up a long pass like they did
Their timeout because the replay resulted in a reversal.
Well, that referee ought to just go home.
All right. They've lost complete control.
He has lost control of the game, and it's too bad for the Redskins. They fought so hard and long here in this game.
But he looks good in the uniform.
1st and 10 at the Redskins 37 for New Orleans now. Just that quick, it turns around.
Here comes the blitz. Here comes the blitz.
Breeze wheels, rolls to his right, fires, and it's going to be caught. It is caught by Jim Henderson at the Redskins' 24-yard line.
And they're in field goal range.
Certainly within field goal range here.
Yeah, Spoot knocked him out of bounds.
That doesn't help when he catches the ball in front of you for 15 yards.
Yeah. Well, they picked on Spoot. Well, they knew, D'Angelo Hall is out hurt, so.
Let me tell you something, guys. Their field goal kicker can miss it, too.
It's true. High formation behind Breeze. Hands it to Mike Bell. He's hit by Reed Dowdy, upended at the 24-yard line.
They can fumble it. Anything can happen. Got to keep playing every play, play.
I tell you one thing. The 2 safeties have played extremely well today. Devon Landry and Reed Dowdy. They made a lot of tackles.
They've been out
The
there a
whole
long
team
time.
has played well.
Yep.
Even though, this other team scored 30 points. But it seems like the defense has played pretty well, but they still scored 30 points.
2nd and 9 at the Redskins' 24, New Orleans. 30-30, we're in overtime. Breeze under center this time.
They can get an interception.
Breeze, play action, wheels, dumps it off. The tight end catches it. London Fletcher from behind drags him out of bounds at the 20. That'll bring up a 3rd down for New Orleans. They're within field goal range here. But it's 3rd down. 3rd and 5 at the Redskins' 20.
David Thomas, big tight end that time, catching that ball. Jeremy Shockey. They got some tight ends. Jeremy Shockey, David Thomas, and Dinkins.
Reggie Bush in the game now for New Orleans. Redskins bring in Arakpo and Kevin Barnes.
With Bush, they'll get him out in the flat.
Well, you got to put somebody on.
They're down to
Colston.
7 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2.
Breeze takes, looking right, fires. It is caught by Colston. And he had the first down. He backtracked. They're going to give him the first down inside the 15.
First down.
To the 14-yard line.
Closer now for the field goal.
Yep. Looks like they might go for the field goal here on first down.
No. Are they?
No.
Yep, they are.
Yes, they are. I can't believe this with a quarterback like Breeze.
It's a chip shot field goal.
Hey, we had a chip shot field goal to win it, too.
Yep.
And missed it.
It can be missed.
This will be a 32-yard attempt from the right hash. The field goal kicker, Hartley, 3 for 3 today.
And so was that guy.
3 of 4.
That guy was 3 for 3.
32-yard attempt for the ball game in overtime, and the Redskins will call a timeout.
First charge timeout, Washington.
Go nice.
10:24 to go in overtime, and Hartley will go over to the sideline.
And stutter.
Hartley just came back. It's his first game back after a suspension. It's John Carney that kicked every kick for them this year. He was 13 of 17 in the field goal department.
Let me tell you this, guys. If the holder fumbles the ball, he falls on it. Because they can kick on second down.
Yep. And now they've switched gears again, and they've put out Drew Brees. Again, the icing of the kicker results in a counter move by New Orleans, and they're going to go with another offensive play here.
That's pretty smart thinking, I think, right there. Give the kicker a little more time to think about it because they're in field goal position.
Yeah, but they can fumble. You can fumble the snap. You can fumble the handoff. Anything can happen here.
First and 10 at the Redskins' 14-yard line.
I mean, they may move it to the left here a little bit to get him back in.
Handoff running right. Bell breaks the tackle inside the 10 down to the 6. But now they're going to try a field goal.
Not necessarily.
Yeah, I think I saw maybe not.
Down.
Close to a first down to the 6-yard line. Needs the 5 for the first down, and they're just going to keep on running it. Maybe they'll run it in.
Yeah.
You take a chance every time you do this. They should run left.
Well, you got a real
Second and 1 at the 5-yard line. Handoff Mike Bell, running to his right, gets hit inside the 5 down to the 2. They may just keep on running it here.
Right.
Yeah.
Ball at the 2-yard line, first and goal.
And they're back at the line of scrimmage, too.
Yep. They just want to punch it in here. Breeze has him to the line. Gives it to Bell. Jumps up and rolls over into the end zone, but he falls short. He's a yard short.
They say he's short.
Just inside the 1-yard line.
I don't know how they didn't give it to him. He went up in the air and over.
But he came down on the field of play.
No, he came down in the end zone. I thought.
We've seen all kinds of heartbreakers this year for the Redskins. The ball is just a nose away. He's inches away from a touchdown.
His head came down on the field of play. Get it.
His head came down on the field?
He came down, then rolled backwards into the end zone.
Second and goal, inches away from victory for the Saints to remain unbeaten. Here in overtime, and a whistle.
The previous play is under review.
Maybe they'll give it to him.
If they give him a touchdown on review.
There it is. I mean, you can watch it. I mean, it looked like he was over. He got clear over the line.
Now, certainly the Redskins handed this game to New Orleans today.
Watch this.
That was it last play.
That was it last play. That's not the one.
So they're going to review whether Mike Bell got into the end zone for a touchdown here. And don't forget Cox, the
Here it is,
friend of the digital
Here it
age,
is. Here
bringing
it
you
is.
the
Here it is.
replay challenge. Looking at the replay as Mike Bell went up. And
The ball comes over.
no, I think it's a good call.
He got it.
I don't think it's over.
No,
I
it's
think
not
he's
over.
Inches short, right where they marked it. Good call that time. But if they give this to him,
No,
they're just cold and they want to go inside.
Well, his head was over, but the ball was not. The ball was The ball was down on the ground.
So
I don't think he made it after seeing the replay.
Okay.
But we'll see. You never know with this
We don't
group.
know how they're going to call
Not
it.
with this group.
So with 8:48 to go in overtime and the score tied at 30 apiece, another replay challenge.
This thing could go to Tuesday the way it's going.
I was just thinking, is this the longest game in history?
The first quarter was good.
And here's the referee once again.
He doesn't know.
Not a big fan of his.
After review, the runner is touched by a defender, and he is down short of the goal line. The ruling on the field is confirmed.
Okay.
He got that one right.
No, it's an inch away. Do they try a chip shot here? Yeah, Brunell's coming out to hold, and Hartley the kicker.
Finally.
So the Redskins' only hope here is to block this kick. And it's shorter than a PAT.
Exactly. I don't like this call.
We put Big Albert right over the center and hold him.
You can't.
Why can't you?
17-yard field goal for the win in overtime. Hartley is ready. And his kick is up, but there was a loose ball. Wait a minute, there was a loose ball in the end zone.
Second charge, timeout.
Another timeout by Washington.
Well, Redskins take a timeout trying to ice him. That one went through the uprights. And again, it's shorter than a PAT.
This is a bizarre football game.
Very weird.
I'm tired of it.
I'm going to have to change clothes.
Be careful, you have to change pants, too.
My clothes have gone out of style. This game's been so long.
Now let's see if the Redskins can find the strength to block the field goal. It's going to be an 18-yard attempt from the right hash.
This guy is truly iced as long as it's taking him to kick.
18 yards away from victory for the Saints, trying to remain unbeaten. The holder is Brunell. The kick by Hartley is up, and it's good. Game over. Redskins fall in overtime. A heartbreaker for the Skins. Final score, 33-30.
And still undefeated, New Orleans Saints.
New Orleans still unbeaten. Let's go down to Doc Walker on the sideline.
Westbrook, you're one of the young guns who came in here today, played some good football. This is a bizarre ending. You got to be lower than Will.
Man, we played a hard game today, and we should have came out and finished this game like we said before the game. But, you know, things happen. Offense, defense, special teams, everything just went down for us, and here we go with another loss.
I'm going to ask you what I ask guys every week. Can you dig down even deeper and come back next week with another valiant effort?
Yeah, because we don't want to end the season like this. We want to end the season on a winning note. So we're going to go back to the drawing board, watch the film, and try to get better.
All right, one of the young guns in there, Westbrook for the burgundy and gold, giving it a gallant effort. But once again, the Skins come up short, 33-30 to the undefeated New Orleans Saints.
Campbell going to throw short again, and the ball comes free. It's on the ground. This is the Saints football. So here's the field goal attempt by Hartley, and it is good. Let's go home, everybody, as 12-0 champions of the NFC South and still unbeaten in one of the greatest victories in Saints history.